Welcome to HOJO Radio.
And now a radio crime drama that ran on CBS from February 27th, 1949 to August 1st, 1954. Produced and directed by Elliot Lewis, the opening theme of I'll Take Manhattan introduced Detective Danny Clover, played by Larry Thor, a hardened New York cop who worked homicide from Times Square to Columbus Circle, the gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world. We present to you Broadway's My Beat.
Broadway's My Beat. From Times Square to Columbus Circle. The gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world.
Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover.
Broadway. It's the glittering center of a glittering universe that's propped against the shadow, and its desolation. A gaudy ruin with a lyre in its teeth. And the lie is in gorgeous technicolor, and the screaming of trumpets and the dancing on the street. And there's silence, too. So still, so empty, you can hear a teardrop. Whatever it is, it's Broadway. My Beat. After midnight, Broadway is a place that pulls up stakes. Wives lead husbands home to their cages. Bartenders sweep up the sawdust, and a few drunken clowns. A tired voice invites you to a sideshow. And you keep walking. And then a voice calls your name.
Hey, Danny! Wait a minute, Danny! Danny!
And it's the voice of Maxie Stern, manager of the most colossal, most stupendous, most nothing movie crib on Broadway.
Danny, come quick, huh? Real quick.
Hi, Maxie.
Hi, Danny. Come quick, please, huh?
Well, what's the matter? Somebody doesn't like the picture?
Worse than that. He's sitting in the loge and he won't go home, and the picture is long since over.
Maybe he's waiting for the prices to change.
I don't think so, Danny.
No?
No, I think the gentleman who was occupying my loge is dead.
Come quick, huh, Maxie?
Yeah. The way we discovered him, Danny, is one of my charwomen who sweeps out the dump, a theater, was creeping out the loges. This gentleman she can't politely bite, so she calls a private.
Huh?
A nosher who's at the bottom of the rung of success. The private calls a corporal. Corporal calls... Oh, nothing. Finally gets the head usher, and he calls me. And I verify their opinion that the loge chief is dead. But this I have to have official, so I called you.
Where is he?
Up these Persian carpeted stairs, Danny. $30 a square yard. Wait, Danny. Danny, I'm out of breath.
Where is he?
In here. Through this Renaissance door that opens out onto a luxurious loge.
Hi, Danny. I'm glad Maxie found you.
Danny, I took the liberty of first calling our house doctor, Dr. Jeffrey Connor, the house doctor.
Well, it's all right, Maxie. Why are you glad Maxie found me, Doc?
Because this man's been poisoned.
Oh?
Dilated pupils, tinge of blue on his lips, all the usual symptoms.
Suicide, maybe?
Maybe, but I hardly think so. People don't take poison and go to a movie. Not this poison. The pain is excruciating.
How long has he been dead?
I'd say an hour, maybe two.
Well, he must have cried out. He must have
The
made...
picture's hilarious, rib-tickling. It's a comedy, Danny. Maybe the other schmoes in the loge thought he was laughing. Some people laugh in such a way, you know.
Yeah. Let's see who he is. Wallet, name stamped in gold. Sherman Gates. Cigarettes. Hotel key. Carnegie Hotel.
And his umbrella, Danny, lying wet on the carpet. A man commits suicide in the loge, Danny?
Suicide or murder. I had to know which. So I had a call to make. The Carnegie Hotel on 2nd Avenue was an institution that had never received an endowment, but its educational possibilities were infinite. The signs walking up the steps from the street made you know that. You could hold a seance with Madame Assart, Heaven's Daughter of the Moon. You could buy magic tricks from Professor Novotny. When that was over, you could buy a Swedish massage from a brother and sister team. At the top of the steps was a man seated behind a cage. He was looking down at a glossy magazine. I looked down at him. He kept looking, and I kept looking. I got tired first, so I rang the bell on his desk.
I heard you when you hit the third step coming upstairs. That's a loose one.
And why don't you pay attention to me?
Paying attention to something else right now, Mac. You want to see?
See what?
This magazine. Get it every month. Here, look. Picture of Phyllis in again this month, wearing a hat. First time I ever saw her wearing a hat. Last month it was stockings. Cute, huh?
All I want is some information.
About Phyllis? Oh, can't do that. I wish I could. But we can both dream, can't we?
Information about a guest. Sherman Gates.
You got the information. He was a guest.
He's dead.
People die. Say, who are you that wants to know what you want to know?
I'm Danny Clover, police.
Oh, so I'm Lee Crandall, clerk. So?
So what about Sherman Gates?
He was a guest who guested at room 12 down the hall. He made a couple of phone calls early in the day through my switchboard. Went out, didn't come back. Putting two and two together, I'd say the latter was because he's dead. Am I helping?
What about the 2 phone calls?
I'm being a citizen like all get out. I got them right here. Right here someplace. Yeah, here they are.
Thanks. Don't mind if I use your phone, citizen. I know you don't.
Not for a dime, I don't.
Danny Clover, I want you to check 2 phone numbers for me, Tartaglia. Here are the numbers. Give me the names and addresses to go with them.
Yes, Danny.
Plaza 7, 9970. And Regent 4, 1098. You got that?
Yeah, I got it.
Good, I'll call you back. Here's your dime.
Thanks. Now I guess you want to look at Mr. Gates' room, huh?
Yeah, I want to do that.
When you're finished, I got something to show you.
More art studies, distillers?
Broken down dentist once left a stack of National Geographic here. Maybe a guy like you gets his kicks from stuff like that.
It made him happy to say that, and he was being a good citizen, so I let him be happy. The room of Sherman Gates, guest, deceased, revealed a bed and table, beat up, broken down. Not much else. Mr. Gates' other suit and a change of underwear. I leafed through the National Geographics to give Tartaglia time to check on the phone numbers. I learned little-known facts about the pygmy people of Mozambique, then called headquarters. 2 phone numbers. One listed to Irene Vincent in the East 60s. The other, a photographer's shop on 10th Avenue. It was midnight, and neither place answered to my call, so I waited till the next morning. Called in person.
Something I can do for you?
Yeah, there is. I want to ask you a few questions.
Oh, good. About a camera? This one takes wonderful pictures of the whole family.
I don't have a family. Questions about a photographer.
Oh. Well, we've got some wonderful brochures here. The tricks of all great photographers. Weegee Lou Jacobs Jr., Stipend.
Not about them. About Sherman Gates.
Gates. Don't know him. If he were a photographer of note, I'm sure I'd know him.
This photographer was also a customer. Try that.
Gates, huh?
Gates. Sherman Gates.
Sherman Gates.
I'll give you a big fat clue. He called you yesterday.
Gates.
Maybe I ought to rack your brain for you.
Gates, of course. He called me yesterday.
Maybe you'll have a better memory if I tell you I'm from the police, Mr.
Quimby. Junius Quimby. There's nothing wrong with my memory. I just told you. Mr. Gates called me yesterday afternoon.
What did he call about?
About the usual thing, like, were his pictures ready?
And were they?
No.
What did you tell him?
I told him no.
I mean, when did you say his pictures would be ready?
Today, this morning.
Now?
Now.
Get them. I'm calling for them.
It's irregular, you know.
I know. Get them.
Why does Mr. Gates call for them himself?
He's dead. Now get them.
Of course, they're right here. In this drawer. Here they are. In this envelope.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. What do you know? Cats. Pictures of cats.
Aren't they lifelike? So real. Here, pussy, pussy, pussy.
I'd never heard a man say that to a picture of a cat before, so I tiptoed out, pointed myself to East 60th Street, and took off. Irene Vincent's apartment house was fashionable. It had a fashionable doorman accoutred in dawn pink, standing under a fashionable moss green canopy. And his fashionable eyes were the color of dead fish as he took my name, my occupation, my sex. Took them over to a lavender phone, spoke them in a shocked voice, arranged me in an elevator, pushed a button, and washed his hands with me on the 10th floor. I lit a cigarette and saw Irene Vincent waiting for me in a doorway. She didn't leave much breath for smoking.
Come in, Danny Clover.
Yeah, thanks.
He is frightful, isn't he?
Who?
The doorman. I hate snobs, don't you, Danny?
Do you say so?
You hate snobs. And why are you calling on me?
Man named Sherman Gates. You know him?
If you say so.
He called you yesterday from the Carnegie Hotel.
So he did.
He died last night in a movie.
So he did. I read it in the paper. They say it might be suicide.
What do you say, Miss Simpson?
Oh, I don't think so. Sherman wouldn't commit suicide, not that way.
Tell me about Sherman, Miss Simpson.
Oh, Sherman was 100%, Danny. All boy, all star. High school track, B-club, cheerleader, a devil with the girls. I was in love with Sherman once. 100%.
When was that?
Too long ago, when I was a little girl in Iowa. When little girls fell in love with little boys like Sherman.
And he called you yesterday? Why?
He wanted to date. The flame was flickering, he said. That's the way Sherman talked.
You gave him a date?
Of course. It flatters a girl, Danny, when an old love comes out of Iowa and asks for a date.
Where'd you go? What did you do?
In detail.
Mm-hmm.
In detail, we went to Gino's, had a few drinks, left Gino's, had an argument. Oh, that should interest you, Danny.
It does.
Well, it was about a cat. A cat rubbed itself against the leg of Sherman's tuxedo, and Sherman kicked the cat in the face. So we argued.
And?
So I took a cab home, threw my umbrella in the tub to dry off, took my clothes off, got into...
Oh, Irene, the drinks are ready. Well, haven't you finished with the police, my dear?
Oh, I think so, Joseph. Danny, this is my fiancé, Joseph Dorcas. Danny Clover.
How do you do?
Mr. Dorcas...
I'm dropping, Mr. Clover. You'll want to know if I knew of Irene's going out with Sherman Gate.
Oh, I hadn't thought of it, but it'll do.
I knew about it, Mr. Clover. Irene has full personal freedom until we're married. You've read of our marriage?
I'm afraid not.
It's been in all the columns. A winter romance, they call it. That is, my part of it. Nice phrase, isn't it?
I told you, Joseph, they're only little dogs barking. You mustn't let them hurt you.
You see why I love her, Mr. Clover. And in 2 weeks, she'll be mine. And then, Irene, no more jaunts to Iowa to see your mother. No more evenings with callow youths like this gay fellow. No more.
Darling, you're embarrassing Danny Clover.
They clinched. And I got out of there. I checked in at headquarters, grabbed a cup of coffee, and then went back to a man named Quimby, who had pictures of cats for a dead man who hated cats.
Oh, I see you're back.
You remember me, huh?
Of course. You said you were a policeman. You told me that this morning.
Right. I'm a policeman, and I'm still working. I got some new questions to ask you, Mr. Quimby.
Please ask him in a hurry. I got some pictures in the tank.
This won't take long. Those pictures you gave me this morning.
Mr. Gates' pictures?
Those. Are you sure they were the pictures he left to be developed?
Am I sure? What do you mean, am I sure?
I mean, are you sure?
Of course I am. Now, if you'll pardon me.
One more thing.
Please, those pictures in the tank, they'll spoil.
All right, but hurry up back.
I'll only be a minute. Just look around. Browse.
Quimby, what happened? He tried. He really did try to tell me what happened, but he couldn't. He'd never be able to. I hurried over to the open door which led to the alley. Empty. The sound of a car starting off, a car driven by a killer, suddenly made the whole place empty. Empty except for one thing. One single and shining fact. The dead man in the loads wasn't a suicide. He'd been murdered. Now he had company.
You are listening to Broadway's My Beat, starring Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover. A whale of a Christmas present for a few moments brain scratching. Could be there's $54,000 in the Sing It Again jackpot now. 25,000 of it in cold hard cash and the rest in wonderful prizes. Sing It Again is heard for a full hour every Saturday night on most of the same CBS stations.
In the afternoon, Broadway is a place of regret. It's the interval between the furtive lunch hour and quitting time, the longest 5 hours in the world, and it happens 5 days a week. It's also the time to dust the coconut husks at the bias stand, to dodge the cloak and suitor for whom nothing exists except the clothing rack he's pushing, and it's the time for window shopping. For me, it was a time for homework, and headquarters is where I studied. There's a sergeant there who helps me. His name is Tartaglia, and he tries real hard. Or, as he puts it...
I try real hard, Danny.
I know you do, Tartaglia. So tell me what you found on Junius Quimby.
Oh, that little photographer was a naughty boy, Danny. With a record. Not a long one, but naughty.
Pictures, huh? Photographs.
Pictures, Danny. Photographs.
That's all?
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I almost forgot, Danny. There's a guy outside to see you. Joseph Dorcas says he's the fiancé of one Miss Irene Vincent.
Well, show him in, Tartaglia.
Yeah. Go right in, Mr. Dorcas.
Thank you. Hello, Mr. Clover. I hope you're not too busy to see me.
Not at all. Sit down, Mr. Doctor.
Thank you. Mr. Clover, I'll come right to the point. I'm a very rich man.
I'm happy for you, Mr. Doctor.
It's a fact that doesn't need a comment, Mr. Clover. I only tell you that because, well, you should know it. I'm in a position to buy off any trouble that Irene may be in.
Your fiancé's in trouble?
Yes. She just came back from a vacation with her mother in Ireland. And since she's back, she's being blackmailed.
Uh-huh. That'd fit. I don't know how exactly, but it would fit.
I can't guess what you have in mind, but I think I can help you.
Well, frankly, Mr. Dorcas, I could use a little help. What have you got to offer?
Some pertinent facts.
Good. What are they?
Well, the day before yesterday, a man called her. Said he had some information that he was going to take to me.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to take it to me unless Irene paid him $20,000.
What kind of information?
Mr. Clover, Irene swears to me she doesn't know. She got a phone call from a man. The man set up a meeting place, but the man never showed up.
Go on.
Yesterday, the same thing. Another phone call. Another man. And this man didn't show up either.
What else?
About an hour ago, one more phone call. Still another voice. This time, the man told Irene to meet him at 1 o'clock tomorrow morning at the 23rd Street docks, Hudson River.
Was that all he said?
No. He mentioned the names of Junius Quimby and Sherman Gates.
Oh?
He told Irene that what happened to them would happen to her if she didn't appear with the money. Does that suggest anything to you, Mr. Clover?
Yeah, it does. It suggests his third caller is our killer. He's got some piece of information to blackmail your fiancée. Some piece of information that belonged to 3 men. Now it belongs to only one, the killer.
Well, what shall we do, Mr. Clover?
We'll do this. Tell Irene to get the money and meet the man.
Yes,
Don't worry, I'll be there. Tell her I'll be in the doorway at the port agent's shack. Tell her to walk past me so I'll know she's there. But above all, tell her not to talk to me. You got that?
Of course, Mr. Clover. I have it exactly.
At midnight, the 23rd Street dock is an island torn out of limbo. The mist, the vapors rising out of the dark river, the sob of distant turbines, the almost silent hiss of the sea. It's all there. And you stand in dark space at the edge of a universe and wait and hope you're doing the right thing. Across oil-black water, you watch an electric sign in New Jersey arrange itself in numerals of time, and then a sound brings you back. It's a simple sound, the sound of a woman's heels on wood. So you're back, and you remember why you're there.
Danny Clover, are you there?
I told you, don't talk to me. Keep walking.
But I'm frightened, Danny Clover, 100% frightened.
He sees you talking to you anyway. Might kill you, like he killed the others.
Yes, Danny.
And remember, talk to him as if you were alone. No outcry, no hysterics, nothing. Understand? Now, keep walking.
Yes, Danny Clover. Here goes a pretty girl. It's him, Danny! It's him! Get him! Get him!
You fool! I told you not to yell!
You got away, didn't you, Danny?
Yeah, why did you cry out? Why?
Because I'm a girl, and girls are unstable.
Yeah.
Are you hurt, Danny? Did he shoot you?
No.
But there's blood on the ground. See, Danny Clover?
Danny Clover saw the blood on the ground. Danny Clover put an idiot named Irene in a cab. Danny Clover went back to headquarters. By 2 o'clock, the orders were out for every drugstore, every hospital, every doctor to be on the lookout for a wounded man. And then Danny Clover curled up in his swivel chair and fell asleep.
Are you decent, Barney?
Oh, of course I'm decent. What are you talking about?
There's a lady out here to see you, Danny, from the Salvation Army, with a drum and a cymbal and a tambourine.
What?
Yeah, she says she knows you has something important to tell you.
Oh, sure in, Sergeant. Sergeant, sure in.
Yeah. Go right in, miss. Ma'am.
Good morning, Danny. Oh, it's a glorious, glorious morning, isn't it?
Glorious, Opal. How are you?
Glorious.
Why don't you put the drum down? I'll take me a help, Opal.
Oh, sure. Allow me, Miss Opal.
Thank you.
The tiger said you had something important to tell me.
Well, it may be. I don't know. It just may be important, and then again it may not. Strange the way things are one way or another, isn't it, Danny?
Tell me anyway, Opal.
Well, last night at the mission, it was my tour of duty. You know, helping the poor wandering souls.
What happened at the mission, Opal?
Well, about 3 o'clock in the morning, this man came in with a terrible wound in his shoulder. Oh, a terrible wound. I dressed
Where is he now?
Well, back at his hotel, I suppose. The Carnegie Hotel. You see, Mr. Crandall's one of our steadies. But, Danny, where are you going? I
All right, I'm coming. Oh, it's you.
Yeah, citizen. It's me.
Come to tell me I'm not much of a citizen no more, huh?
A real bad one. A wounded one, too. Your shoulder hurt?
Some. If I make an effort, it'll still operate.
Don't try. I'm booking you. We'll take fine care of your shoulder.
I missed everything, didn't I? Messed it all up. Amateurs oughtn't to play that game. It makes them gun happy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I turned all of Phyllis's pictures to the wall. She isn't proud of me. She looks sad. Even the one in stockings.
Tough. You ready?
Sure. Get a figure on how long the rap is?
Figuring all the time there is left in the world, so you won't be disappointed. After all, you killed 2 men.
Killed 2 men? What are you talking about?
Sherman Gates, 1 man. Junius Quimby, 1 man.
Wait a minute.
2 men.
Wait a minute. You're talking too fast. Words are going by me. I think I hear, but I don't know what they mean.
Let's go, Liz.
I'm telling you, all I did was try a blackmail stunt. I lost it, that's all.
You're talking for the record now, Liz.
Sure I am, and this is a record. A letter comes for gift Sherman Gates after he's deceased. I open it, pictures in it, blackmail pictures to a guy with brains. More brains than me.
So you called Irene Vincent.
Sure, her picture's been all over the paper on account of her marrying that millionaire. Sure, I called her.
Where are the pictures?
Right in my back pocket. They never left there.
I'll take them.
Well, yeah.
Thanks.
You can't book me for murder. You can't.
Here's a dime, citizen. I got to call headquarters. We're going for a ride. You, me, and the pictures.
You sent for me, Danny? I was just on my way to home. I phoned Mrs.
It's a little early, isn't it, Sergeant?
Well, what with the rain and all, by the time I get through the traffic...
Take off that flicker and stick around a while. I want you to look at a picture.
Okay, Danny. Well, there's the picture, huh, Danny?
Here. What do you see, Tartaglia?
Oh, I see a gorgeous dame in a swimming suit by the name Irene Vincent. I see a guy also in a swimming suit by the name Sherman Gates, deceased. And they're leaning up against the new Nash. Looks like the 1950 model. Did I see everything, Danny?
Where are they?
To me, it looks like Miami. I've never been to Miami, but to me, it looks like Miami. Palm trees, ocean, swimming suits.
Yeah. Neat piece of blackmail.
Is this the blackmail to be in Miami in the winter?
You can go home now, Tartaglia.
Oh, thanks, Danny, thanks. It's because of the rain I'm leaving now.
What do you got there?
The umbrella?
Umbrella?
Yeah, sure, an umbrella, Danny. It's raining outside. Cat and dog.
Umbrella. Go home, Tartaglia, and tell Mrs. Tartaglia today you did real good.
I want to apologize for Irene's not being here, Mr. Clover.
Oh, that's okay. You're here.
After all, Irene and I are engaged, and the fact that you found me in her apartment shouldn't cause you to lift an eyebrow.
Not the merest wisp of an eyebrow. Maybe you'll react, Mr. Dorcas. I know why Irene was being blackmailed.
Good for you. So you found the blackmailer. You understand, whatever Irene did before we were married doesn't concern me.
Oh?
That was a part of her life that I didn't belong in. It was hers under whatever circumstance she wanted.
What if it happened 3 weeks ago?
Oh, impossible.
Look at this picture, Mr. Dorcas. Does it tweak you?
Irene, come in here.
Well, you mean you've been out clevering me. Irene's been listening all the time. My.
I don't want to subject my fiancée to the police. Now, come here, Irene.
Yes, what is it?
A picture. I want you to look at it.
Were you in Iowa 3 weeks ago, Irene?
I told you I was, dear. That means I was.
Irene, you're not looking at the picture.
I'm looking. It was taken 3 years ago in Miami before I met Mr. Dorcas.
You're lying, dear.
You're doing just that, Irene. They didn't have 1950 cars 3 years ago. They had them just about 3 weeks ago.
Irene.
So I went to Miami. So what? So what if I did?
Irene, tell us. Tell us what happened the night Sherman Gates died.
I've already done that, 100%.
The part after you left him. Do it again.
All right, I will. I came home in a cab, undressed, went to bed. Happy?
The part about the umbrella. What did you do with it?
Throw it in the bathtub. Happy?
Yeah, but you're not. A guy comes to call for you to take you out for an evening. He brings an umbrella, like a 100% gentleman. I know because it was found with his dead body.
Poor him. So?
So you carried an umbrella, too. When a gentleman carries an umbrella on a date, a girl never does. But you did. You know why, too.
Throw him out of here, dear.
No, I don't want to do that.
Because you knew you were coming home alone, Irene. So you poisoned his drink and left him. That took care of blackmailer number one.
You mean Irene killed someone else?
Did you, Irene?
You're both crazy.
You killed Quimby, too. The nasty little photographer who developed a few extra blackmail pictures for himself and wanted in on the blackmail.
Poor Irene.
You're crazy.
But still another man got in on the blackmail. A hotel clerk who opened Sherman Gates' mail and figured you'd been cheating almost up to the altar.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen
So
to
you
him.
dreamed up a story, Irene, and told it to Mr. Dorcas here. A story that made the hotel clerk look like he murdered the other two. He didn't. You did.
Irene, put down that gun.
Get out of the way. I'll kill him.
Irene, don't.
Irene.
You fool. You stupid little fool. I'll take that gun.
I'll
I
kill
said,
you.
give me that gun. That's better.
Irene.
She looked at him, then fell suddenly to the floor, took Dorcas's head in her arms and swayed back and forth. Her eyes filled with the terrible fright you sometimes see in a child. And it was hard to believe she was a murderer. But you knew better, so you called headquarters. And they sent an ambulance and a couple of burly cops. She was 100% with them, so they gave her the best seat in the paddy wagon. Broadway looks clean. It's been washed by the rain. It smells good, and everything looks sharp. Sharp like a knife at your heart. And you walk against it, and it plunges deeper and deeper and deeper. And finally, there's no pain. It's Broadway, the gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world.
Broadway's My Beat stars Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover and is written by Morton Fine and David Friedkin. The musical score was composed by Alexander Courage and conducted by Wilbur Hatch, and the program was produced and directed by Elliott Lewis. The cast tonight included Charles Calvert, Joe Forte, Paul Dubov, Junius Matthews, Mary Jane Croft, Herbert Rawlinson, and Joyce McCluskey. One step to curing a disease is recognizing it and treating it. Hate is a disease. It's recognized as such by patriotic citizens who refuse to spread the doctrine of hate by speaking against a fellow American because of his race, color, or religious creed. The treatment to cure the disease of hate is to accept or reject people on their individual worth, and to speak up wherever you are against prejudice and for understanding. Stay tuned now for Sing It Again, which follows immediately over most of these same CBS stations. This is CBS, where you find Broadway is My Beat every Saturday night, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
HOJO Radio, we're your old-time radio headquarters. Stay tuned.
Broadway's My Beat. From Times Square to Columbus Circle, the gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world. Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover. Broadway, it's a time and a place and a state of mind where you bang your head against the wall so the lights will be brighter, the noise is louder, thereby furnishing proof that you're enjoying yourself. And at holiday season, you bang your head harder and conjure up visions, the new year, the new promises, the golden girl who will smile to you from the crowd and beckon. It could happen. It's Broadway, my beat. There's a place on Broadway. It nudges onto Columbus Circle and calls itself the Dover Hotel, then retires into its own faded respectability. At 8 o'clock of a cold weekday morning, Broadway walks past it on its way to work. So was I when a man darted out of its doorway, saw me, darted some more, and tugged at my sleeve. He said he knew me, knew I was a policeman, and that's what he needed. So then we were in an elevator, and he said his name was... What did you say your name was?
Box, Louis Box.
Well, just what seems to be your trouble, Mr. Box?
I said to myself, Mr. Box, there's trouble in room 812. Big trouble. Oh, very big, Mr. Clover. He won't answer. He won't let Mr. Box in.
He won't? Who won't? Who won't, Mr. Box?
The guest in 812, right this way, Mr. Clover, right down the hall. Every time I open my door, he throws a bottle at Mr. Box's head.
Has he hit Mr. Box?
3 times, here and here and here. This is your room. Mr. Box will unlock the door for you. Now
you'll go back to your desk and Mr. Clover will go in.
Very well, but just be careful of those bottles. He always aims at Mr. Box's head.
Yeah, don't worry. All right, you. Hey, what are you... Put down that bottle. I said put it down. It's better. Now tell me what's so funny.
It's funny, mister. The funniest thing, look, it's all here in this paper. Go ahead, mister. Read it for yourself.
Yeah. Hey, this paper's 2 days old.
Sure it is. On account I got it 2 days ago. Go ahead, read that obituary right where I'm pointing.
John Lomax, victim of hit-and-run accident, was buried today at the Queen Cemetery. He was survived by his wife, Martha
Lomax of 36 Darcy Place. I called for a drink. I'm Lomax, mister. I'm John Lomax.
Huh?
Sure. And Martha's my wife. Look, I'll tell you about it.
I'm looking. Tell me.
4 nights ago. Yeah, it was 4 nights ago when whoever was supposed to be me was hit and run. I went to a Turkish bath. You know.
So you had a bath, so?
So they stole my overcoat and they stole my wallet. Rolled me. But I was too smart for them.
Yeah, you sure were. How were you too smart for them?
I had some money rolled up in my shirt sleeve. Trick I learned in the Navy. Enough to pay for booze in this crummy room. That calls for another drink.
How long have you been here?
Since then, I saw the papers. I've been laughing ever since.
Why don't you go home?
I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
I think my wife is happy I'm dead. Yeah, she is.
Mr. Lomax. Hey, Mr. Lomax. A grinning mask of foolish delight and monthly bliss arranged itself on the face of John Lomax. And having so arranged itself, Mr. Lomax proceeded to fall flat on same. John Lomax had been hilarious because another man died bearing his name and identity. So much happiness over the dead makes me curious. So I went out to the home of John Lomax in Queens. It was like every other home on the block. Even the cracks in the stucco were identically placed. But what made the Lomax home different was it had a different number over its doorbell.
Yes.
Mrs. Lomax? This is John Lomax?
Yes.
I'm Danny Clover of the police, Mrs. Lomax.
Police?
Now, don't be frightened, Mrs. Lomax.
Well, come in, Mr. Clover. Please come in.
Thank you.
Oh, I pick up these things. The woman's pajamas look so lost just lying on a chair. Here, sit here, Mr. Clover.
Thanks. It's about your husband, Mrs. Lomax.
What?
When did you see him last?
Forgive me, Mr. Clover, but I don't quite understand what you're driving at. My husband is dead. We buried him 2 days ago.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Lomax. I'm sorry, it's just that... How are you sure it was your husband who died?
What? Oh, you mean because he was so badly smashed up in the accident? I knew him because it was his wallet they found on the dead man. And John's overcoat.
That wasn't enough. Maybe it was someone else.
It wasn't. I know because there was a card in the coat advertising the Baghdad baths. John always went there for days on end instead of home.
What did your husband look like, Mrs. Lomax? Do you have a picture of him I could see?
I'm afraid not. After the funeral, I tore up every picture of John and me that was in the house. John was dead. And it was done. Can you understand that?
Will you describe him to me? I mean a physical description. Coloring, weight.
John was 5'11". He had a paunch. I mean, he weighed about 180 pounds. He was overweight. He had thin, sandy hair and kind of faded blue eyes. And a kind of funny, loose face.
That's...
What?
Mrs. Lomax, there's something...
Oh, Arthur, I got the papers. You missed me, doll? Oh, who?
Paul, this is Mr. Danny Clover of the police department. He was asking about John.
What do you want to know about John Lomax and why?
Mrs. Lomax, you haven't introduced me to your friend.
Oh, how silly of me. I was so flustered when Paul just walked in without knocking or anything.
You gave me the key so I could run out for the papers, remember, Doc?
Oh, of course. I thought it would be simpler that way. This is Paul Rand, Mr. Clover. A very talented pianist. A sort of protege of John and me.
Of you, doll. I'm sorry I haven't the mood to play something for you, Mr. Clover. So you'll tell me instead what there is about John Lomax you're bothering Martha about.
Hey, I'll tell you, protege. There's a drunk in the Dover Hotel who says he's John Lomax, and he says John Lomax is not dead, never did die. You think maybe he's lying?
Of course he's lying. My husband is dead. Isn't he, Paul?
Yeah, sure, doll. Dead. What are you building, policeman? Who are you going to believe, a drunk or a widow? Get out of here. Leave her alone.
The look on their faces was like a motion picture you watch where suddenly the action is frozen and still. A boy, maybe 24, with an animal's hard grace, the lips drawn tight away from his teeth, the eyes wary and stagnant. And the woman, more mature, gentler, almost pretty. But in her eyes, nothing she wants you to see. A telephone directory gives you the address of the Baghdad Baths, so you go there because you have to sweat out some questions on a man who says he's John Lomax and not deceased. You walk up 3 flights of a dank building on 9th Avenue, and there's a dank card that says Baghdad Baths, Ephraim Sabo, proprietor, Waldo Toklas, proprietor. You walk in, ask for Ephraim or Waldo of a receptionist who's beating her eyelashes, and she winks you back to the steam room. Hey, Ephraim! Hey, Waldo!
In here. Whoever it is wants to see me has to come in here.
Maybe you better come out. It's the police, Ephraim. Or is it Waldo?
It's Ephraim and I can't come out. I'm naked.
Put on a towel and come out.
You off-duty policeman? Well, you come to the right place. Nothing like Baghdad baths to draw out of a man what's bothering him.
Yeah, I bet. Ephraim, you know a man named John Lomax?
Know him well. John Lomax used to come here every weekend. Like for his pores to feel good. Hasn't been here lately, though.
Maybe because you rolled him. Stole his overcoat and wallet.
You from the police, you say?
That's what I said.
Yeah, we rolled him. Stole those things. But then Waldo stole them from me.
Your partner? Where is he?
Disappeared. Walked out of here with Mr. Lomax's belongings, which belonged to me by squatter's rights. He disappeared.
How long has he been gone?
4 or 5 days. For all I care, he could have dropped dead because he sinned against me.
I got news for you, Ephraim. He may have done just that.
Waldo? Dropped dead? When?
4 or 5 days ago, maybe. Hit and run, maybe.
You mean Waldo was in an accident?
Maybe.
Why didn't I know about it? I'm all he's got.
Because he sinned and stole another man's overcoat and wallet. So he was buried under an assumed name, maybe. John Lomax, maybe.
Maybe. Maybe you ain't sure.
Maybe I ain't. But I'm sure of one thing. You sinned, too. Ephraim?
Uh-huh.
Change that towel for something more formal. We're going for a ride.
Danny, you coming in late this morning. It's 11:30 in the a.m.
All right, come in here, Tartaglia.
Yeah, Danny.
Shut the door.
Yeah, sure. Oh, what's up, Danny?
A riddle is up. A guy is killed in a hit-and-run accident, identified as John Lomax, buried as John Lomax. Now, I'm not sure he's John Lomax.
Hey, that's a good riddle.
Yeah, it gets better. There's a guy sleeping it off at the Dover Hotel who says he's John Lomax.
He does? Who? Who does, Danny?
Tartaglia, you know what I'd do if I were sergeant?
Oh, yeah, Danny, sure. If you were a sergeant, you would send an order for the exhumation of the body of the first mentioned Lomax, the dead Lomax.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'd do. Do it.
Yeah, sure, Danny, sure. What are you going to do on account of you're a lieutenant?
I'm going to dig up a live man who calls himself Lomax. I want to introduce him to a woman who calls herself his widow.
So I said to myself, Mr. Box, this man has indeed some pride left after all.
Yeah, what made Mr. Box say that?
Because the guest in 812 took a shower a few minutes ago. That's a good sign on New Year's Eve. Mr. Box is happy for him.
I'll take the elevator back down, Mr. Box. I'll find my way to 812 myself. Mr. Lomax. Come on, Lomax. Open the door. Lomax.
Break it down! Break down the door!
Yeah. I can't. I've got a key. Come on. Come on.
You caught Mr. Box?
Give me your pass key.
You what?
Give me the key.
Of course, here you are. Oh, wait for Mr. Box.
Lomax, it's Danny Clover.
Did he do it, Mr. Clover? Did he turn over a new leaf? My goodness, what's that fire escape window doing open, letting in that cold
window.
air?
Mr. Box, now you can say to yourself, you can say, a murderer threw a man out of a window in my hotel.
You are listening to Broadway's My Beat, starring Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover. $53,000 in cold hard cash and wonderful prizes. What a wonderful ending that would be to the old year. Well, Sing It Again is coming along with all that in the jackpot tonight, and some smart CBS listener can knock it off by solving the Phantom Voice riddle. Sing It Again is heard on most of these same CBS stations. So a $53,000 Happy New Year, maybe. Happy New Year anyway, for Sing It Again is heard every Saturday night.
On the happy holidays, Broadway wears the happy clothes, complete with happy masks. The wooden barriers are up in the shop windows, and Broadway's herd stampedes down the long alley. The dust it raises is confetti. Whirlwinds of confetti, bursts of confetti that explode and play like marvelous fountains. The jewels of light they reflect is the light of neon and Mazdas. There's a Mazda at police headquarters, too. It casts a veil of yellow light and it hangs in the long concrete hallway that leads to the morgue. When the sergeant speaks, it makes a cold echo.
Now, Danny.
Okay, Tartaglia. Ephraim?
My, that's neat. Could use something like that down at Baghdad Baths. Slide them in, then slide them out when they're done. $5, please. Shouldn't make no quips in here, should I?
Who is this man, Ephraim?
It's a little hard to tell. Could be John Lomax. Same who used to habituate my sweat baths. Same he and Waldo stole from. The same John Lomax who'd drink more so he could perspire more. Could be. Hey, you fellas come up with Waldo yet?
Take Ephraim out of here, Tartaglia, and send Mrs. Lomax in.
Yeah, Danny, sure. Come on, Ephraim. Hey, look, did you say that these baths are really good for the system?
Ain't nothing like them, kiddo.
Why did you have me brought here, Mr. Clover?
I want you to identify a man. A man who was murdered. A man who once told me you were his wife.
Is that the man?
You tell me, Mrs. Lomax.
I never saw him before in my life. There is a kind of resemblance, but I never saw him. I don't understand why you want to torture me, Mr. Clover.
You say this man is not your husband?
No. Please, Mr. Clover. Please take me out of here.
All right. Mrs. Lomax, did your husband carry insurance?
Is that going to help you find out who ran down my husband?
Maybe. I don't know.
My lawyer is handling all that. Harold Quillen in the craft building. He is a lawyer. He answers rude questions. Why don't you ask them of him?
Yeah, I'll do that, Mrs. Lomax. You can go home now. It didn't wear well, her casual way of considering the insurance, for example. Things like insurance need worrying about. How else can a helpless widow buy her daily needs, whatever were her daily needs? That's why I'm a policeman. I can't get my mind off details like that. They tweak me, and I need to know answers. So I went to the lawyer named Harold Quillen and asked for some cooperation.
Why don't you stop bothering that poor woman, Mr. Clover?
Well, I'm not bothering her, Mr. Quillen. It's you. And as far as I can see, we're just chatting. Isn't that what we're doing? Well, isn't that what we're doing? Answer me.
Oh, does my rocking in this swivel chair annoy you? I find it restful. Rhythmic. Restful.
When was the last time you were disbarred for non-cooperation, Quillen?
Come now.
Look, friend. I know it's your job to protect your client. That's my job, too. To protect Mrs. John Lomax, and she needs protecting. From my nasty little mind that makes me think sometimes that everybody's a potential murderer. You, me, everybody.
But I don't
and
see...
since Mrs. John Lomax is pretty close to what's a murder, my nasty little mind makes her pretty close to being a murderer. How much insurance did her husband carry?
$50,000.
For accidental death?
I was just coming to that. Double indemnity for accidental death. As a corpse, Mr. Lomax is worth exactly $100,000.
A man who is not loved gets killed, and it pays double to his loved one. And $100,000 can buy a lot of things. Can buy back the lost years. A woman can buy them back by getting herself a protege, a boy who can do things with a piano. A boy who can make a woman remember she was once a girl. What all that money bought me was a trip back to Queens, to a house like all other houses on the block, even to not having a mourning wreath on its door. But from this particular house came the sound of big music.
Oh, it's the police again. You know, I can't get it out of my mind you're a door-to-door salesman. Ever in that line of work, Mr. Clover?
Mrs. Lomax. I want to talk to her.
What about? You can tell me. I'm her friend. I get her the morning papers, remember? So talk to me.
Mrs. Lomax.
Go away like the rain. Come again some other day.
Mrs. Lomax.
Mrs. Lomax is not in, Mr. Clover. Sorry, Mr. Clover.
Oh, I changed my mind. I'll talk to you, Paul. I came all the way out here, so I might as well talk to somebody.
Come in. Come in, Mr. Clover.
Thanks.
You sure you were never a salesman? That foot in the door gimmick, very professional.
Yeah, I studied.
I told you she's not home. But you don't have to believe that if you don't want to, like you're not believing it now. Look in this closet, policeman. Maybe I'm lying. Maybe she's in here, huh? No, not in here.
Tell me about Martha and you, Paul.
Gladly. Can I tell you the music? I feel better with music. It makes me polite.
Yeah, if it makes you polite.
The romance of Paul and Martha. That's music, like this.
The big musical romance. When did it begin?
Someplace in time, someplace in space.
I'm a square, Paul. I don't understand big talk like that. What month? What year? That's what I understand.
The month? May. What else? Merry, merry month. The year, 1949. Hey, is it still 1949, policeman?
And her husband. When did she tell you about him?
This husband fella? Martha told me he existed, but I never had the pleasure of making his acquaintance. Charming setup, huh?
You never met your patron?
No. Oh, pity. I was going to be so brave and noble and 100% fellow when I met him.
Yeah, I can tell you're a prince, Paul.
Sure. That's what Martha calls me sometimes. Yeah, I was going to tell the old John boy, the deluded husband, who it was deluding him.
Yeah, but you never got the chance.
No. The dope gets himself killed in an accident before I can release him.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul, for the music. For just being you.
You know the way out, huh?
Hi, Danny. What'd you find out?
Maybe a motive, just maybe. See.
Hey, wait a minute, Danny. Don't you want the report on the exhumation?
Yeah, tell it to me.
Well, the prints check with those that are on file on an application for a permit for the Baghdad Bats, made out to one Waldo Toklas.
Yeah, the drunk was right.
Yeah. Oh, Danny, you got a visitor in your office.
Oh? Who?
Mrs. Lomax. Well, ain't you surprised, Danny?
I'm not surprised at all.
Hello, Mr. Clover.
Mrs. Lomax. You know, Mrs. Lomax, I was just telling Sergeant Tartaglia. I was just telling him I'm not surprised at all.
About what?
Your being here. If you're here to tell me you killed your husband, that'll make two coincidences all at once.
Mr. Clover, you didn't mean what you just said. That's cruel.
That's one of the words they use about violent death. I can even attend it to the death of Waldo Toklas.
Who?
Waldo Toklas, a petty thief who also ran a Turkish bath. It goes like this, Mrs. Lomax. Waldo stole your husband's coat and wallet. In the dark, he was run down by a hit-and-run driver, by someone who thought it was your husband, someone who wanted your husband dead.
No, it wasn't like that. Not like that. That's why I came here to tell you. I'm frightened, Mr. Clover. Frightened.
Your upper lip didn't even quiver down there in the morning. Why didn't you tell me then? That was your husband, wasn't it? The dead man downstairs. Why didn't you tell me then?
I'm frightened. Don't you see? Sick, but frightened.
Of whom? Me, Sergeant Tartaglia, your conscience, the pianist, Paul Rand? Which?
Paul.
I just looked around the room. He's not here. Tell me all about Paul Rand.
Paul killed Waldo Toklas. Ran over him. From the way Toklas was dressed, he thought it was my husband.
Did he say, pardon me, after he killed him?
Stop it! Stop it! He didn't know. Not until you told him my husband was alive at that hotel. So Paul went there and killed my husband.
You sound glad. Cold. But if you're unemotional about a man's dying, you're glad he's dead.
My husband was a heel. But I didn't kill him. I didn't. I thought it really was an accident until Paul told me what he'd done. Oh, Paul. Paul!
Start with Paul and go on from there.
Paul, he's a killer. He enjoys killing. I'm frightened. Don't you understand? He enjoys it. If he knew I were here, he'd...
Maybe he would. I think we'll go ask him.
Where have you been, Martha?
Paul.
You tilt your head backward, Paul, you'll notice company. Me.
Oh, it's you again, Clover.
Yeah, don't bite your lip. You're dreaming this whole thing.
Paul, Oh, Paul.
Come on, doll. What are you trying to say?
This. She's made an honest effort to say you're a killer.
That's what, huh?
Yeah. I'm piecing it all together, and I come up with this. You killed Waldo Toklas. Mistake. You killed John Lomax. No mistake. Reason, a widow with $100,000. Reason for you to be a killer.
Right, as the saying goes, as rain. Martha probably said I didn't mind it either, huh?
Something like that.
That's why I can get dreamy about pointing this gun at you.
You don't have to. I'm not finished talking.
You're finished. Unless your next sentence starts with a prayer, you're just about done.
I'd point that gun at Martha to be smarter.
Rush me, Clover. That way you can die in action.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly that.
Crazy woman. You're crazy.
That's good. Paul's dead. That's good. He needed to be dead.
Yeah, give me that gun, Mrs. Lomax.
Oh, here. Take it. I'm afraid of it. I don't know where I got the courage to pull the trigger.
Emotions, Mrs. Lomax. Sometimes they get the better of us and they make us pull the trigger one way or another.
But don't.
All right, I won't. I wasn't going to.
You weren't? For saving your life?
Did you do that? If you did, if that's what you were thinking about when you had emotions, thanks.
But I shot him because... Because...
Why?
Don't you see? Of course you do. I shot him because he was going to kill you.
That's your version. I've got one.
Don't you have to call your office, report this or something? Paul's dead, you know.
He'll stay that way. Don't be frightened. Not of Paul. Of me.
Of you?
Because you gave it all away.
Give away what? What are you saying?
About Paul, the promises you must have made to him for killing your husband. Whatever kind of love you promised him. Whatever share of $100,000. Things like that.
You knew all the time.
Just recently, when I found out the man you identified as your husband was Waldo Toklas. When Paul told me he never met your husband.
But he didn't.
Of course he didn't. So you had to tell him how your husband was dressed so he could kill him with a car. That would include the coat he was wearing. It was like that, Mrs. Lomax.
Yes. Look.
Hey, get away from that door.
Don't worry, I'm not going to run away. It's the new year, Mr. Clover. It's a time for wishing good things.
Some people do.
You want to know my wish, Mr. Clover?
It won't come true if you tell me.
I know it won't anyhow. But it's this. I wish there was some way, Mr. Clover, it would make my new year a happy one. If there was some way I could kill you.
Broadway's knocking itself to pieces. The celebrants with the funny hats lean out of the windows of the Astor and drop paper cups on the celebrants with the tin horns. There's laughter and crowd and holiday and swirl. And the fine thing, the glance and the words. A Happy New Year. And means it. The Avenue means it with its heart. It happens once a year on Broadway, the gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world. Broadway, my beat.
Broadway's My Beat stars Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover and is written by Morton Fine and David Friedkin. The musical score was arranged by Alexander Courage and conducted by Wilbur Hatch, and our pianist was Sam Furman. The program was produced and directed by Elliott Lewis. The cast tonight included Charles Calvert, Jeanette Nolan, Jay Novello, Leo Penn, Fred Howard, Bob Bruce, and Barton Yarborough. Now stay tuned for Sing It Again, which follows immediately on most of these same CBS stations. Joe Walters speaking. This is CBS, where you find Broadway's My Beat every Saturday night, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Our next broadcast was the brainchild of Jack Webb and may very well be the most well-remembered and best radio police drama series of all time. It ran from September in 1949 through February 1957 in 30-minute shows broadcast on NBC, and it brought to radio true police stories in a low-key documentary style. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you Dragnet on HOJO Radio.
Here's another in NBC's great parade of new shows.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide. There's a mad killer at large in your city. A woman has been brutally slain, the body mutilated. The picture is clear. The killer has a thirst for blood. Your job, get him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime, investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, transcribed in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, January 12th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the morgue, and it was 11:23 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Hi, Joe. Chief wants to see you. He's in there with Romero.
Thanks, Chandler. How's the wife?
Fine. How about your mother?
Better, thanks.
Hi, Joe.
Hi.
Friday, sit down. Did they post the body yet?
In the morning. Pretty messy. Strangled and mutilated.
The guy's a maniac, Skipper. The body shows it.
A murder like this, anybody's a suspect.
The coroner looked at the body. He says the weapon was a long, sharp instrument.
Found her in a hotel down on East 3rd Street. Manager's son discovered her about 7:30.
You talked to him?
It was too much for him. He passed out. Manager wasn't home. We'll check with him before midnight.
Close to it now, Joe. We better get going.
All right. The boys from the crime lab check the room?
They're still down there, Ed. The place is a mess.
And get back as soon as you can. We're working straight through on this thing.
That's a hot shot.
I'll get it.
At the Lux Hotel, room 219, corner of South Grand and Cordova. Dead body. Possible homicide. The Lux Hotel, room 219, corner of South Grand and Cordova. A dead...
What is it, Friday?
Lux Hotel, possible homicide.
Busy night.
Yeah. You coming, Ed?
Right. Let's go.
Six minutes later, Ed Backstrand, Ben, and I pulled up in front of the Lux Hotel. The manager met us at the door and led the way up a narrow stairway to the second floor. The room number was 219. We were prepared for the worst. We got it.
You're right, Romero. The guy must be a maniac.
2 hotels, 2 murders. The same M.O. 3 of us made a brief inspection of the room at the Lux Hotel. We took a few notes on the appearance of the girl's body and a brief description. Apparently, she'd been strangled to death first, and then her body brutally mangled. Ben and I went back down to the lobby, and the manager, Mr. Ford, showed us the house book. The girl was registered together with a man, Mr. and Mrs. Philip Grant. We took the hotel register to have it checked for fingerprints and to photostat the handwriting. Ben notified the crime lab. Then we went back to the room and questioned the manager.
Mr. and Mrs. Philip Grant, that's all I know. I never saw either one of them before tonight.
When did they check in, Mr. Ford?
About 3 hours ago. That's right, about 9. Maybe a little before.
Did they register together?
Yeah, a little before 9. They came in together.
Did you let them in the room?
Yes, sir, like I always do. It's a small place here, maybe not first class, but I treat people right.
What did the man look like? Do you remember?
I think so. Kind of tall. Young, maybe 30 or so. Husky fella. Had a mustache.
How tall would you say, Mr. Ford?
Oh, about your height, Wade. Must have been at least 180. Seemed like a nice fella.
Would you know him if you saw him again?
I think so. People sure don't act like they look. You think it was him?
Can you think of anybody else?
Well, no. I never saw him before tonight, either one of them. I don't know anything about it.
Did you notice anything in particular about them when they came in?
Well, he didn't show it, but it looked like she'd been drinking a little. Giggling, you know.
And you didn't see this man Grant leave the hotel?
No, I didn't. I must have been checking the account books back of the desk. Guess he got by me.
Is there a back entrance to the hotel, Mr. Ford?
No, he had to come out this way, all right.
How about the fire escape?
I never thought of that. Say, I bet you cops think I'm trying to hide something.
How did you happen to find the body?
I don't know anything about it, honest. I've been running the hotel for 10 years now. Everybody knows me around here. You can ask at the bank.
All right, Mr. Ford. Now, would you mind telling us how you happened to find the body?
I don't want a lot of lousy newspaper publicity. Give the place a bad name. Can you blame me?
The newspapers won't get your name from us. All we want to know is how you happened to find the body.
Well, I told you. It's a small place here, but I like to treat people right. A couple hours after they checked in, I remembered I forgot to fill the ice water pitcher in the room. So I got some and took it up. The door was opened a little ways. It's got a bad catch on it, and the lights were on. I peeked in, and there she was. She was... Well, the guy must have been crazy.
Do you remember what time it was when you found her?
Well, just before I called the cops, about 11:30, I guess.
All right, Ford, that's all for now. When the other officers get here, show them up, will you?
Yes, sir, I sure will.
Romero?
Yes, Skipper?
Get on the phone downstairs and call the Metropolitan Division. Have them send us every available man from the reserve unit. We're going to patrol the area for the rest of the night.
Right, Chief.
Least we can do is make it hard for him. 2 murders in 7 hours.
Yeah, both of them in a 3-block radius.
Same pattern. It's got to be the same guy.
All right, we got a description. What do you think?
Well, when the reserve unit shows up, have them cover this whole section of town. Pick up everybody who even comes close to that guy's description.
All right, Ed.
It's got to go fast. We can't lose a minute. 1 hour either way, it might mean another body. Like this one.
9 minutes later, at 4 minutes past midnight, the men from the crime lab showed up. It started to drizzle. They went over the room in detail. They dusted everything in the room for fingerprints, the walls, the doors, the fixtures in the bathroom, the lamps, chairs, everything. They took samples of the girl's blood and her lipstick. Small pieces of flesh and human hair were found under the girl's fingernails. The nails were scraped carefully and the contents put in an envelope, marked and sealed. Ed Backstrand ordered pictures taken of the room and the girl's body from different angles. Every object in the room that could have any possible tie-in with a murder was photographed. It was raining. The rear of the hotel where the fire escape was overlooked a vacant lot. Ben had a hunch. While the lab men were at work, we left the hotel and circled around into the lot for a look at the ground directly underneath the fire escape ladder. It was raining hard now.
Must be an easier way to make a living. Mud's almost up to my knee.
Mine, too. Watch your step. See any prints?
No. Wait till my wife sees these new shoes.
Put it on your expense account.
Oh, real funny.
Ben, get that light over here. Look.
Yeah. Good set of prints. Lucky that rain didn't start turning to wash them out by now.
Yeah. Hand me that cover from the trash can over there. I'll cover them. Wait a minute.
What?
Here, on the edge of the fire escape ladder.
Small hunk of cloth. Man's suit?
Well, looks like it. Might have caught himself in that sharp corner. I got it. All right, come on, let's get back.
Yeah, out of this mud bath. Joe,
Huh?
let me have a light.
You catch anything?
Hunk of wrapping paper in that trash can. Stains on it.
Open it up.
Look.
Yeah, a butcher knife. We went back to the Lux Hotel, room 219. The lab men were tearing the room apart. It was 10 minutes to 1. We gave the blood-stained knife and the piece of cloth we found on the fire escape to Lieutenant Lee Jones, head of the crime lab. We told him about the footprints just below the fire escape ladder.
The knife will help us, so will the cloth. I don't know about the footprints. You say you covered them?
That's right, Lee. They still look in pretty good shape.
Maybe we can do something if the rain hasn't broken them down too bad. Bracken.
Yeah, Lieutenant?
You and Sloan get downstairs and take a look at those prints. If they're good enough, get a torch, dry them out, and make a cast, right?
Okay, Lieutenant. Come on, Sloan.
That's about all I can do for you now, Ed. I think we got everything there is to get.
All right, Jones. I'll follow you back to the lab in a couple of minutes.
Okay, Ed.
Good luck, fellas.
Thanks, Lee. We're going to need it.
All right, Friday. Romero, it's your baby for the rest of the night.
Lee, get anything?
Few prints, a woman's purse under the bed. Don't know if it's hers or not. No identification.
You going to be at the crime lab, Ed?
All night. As soon as we find anything, I'll let you know. Yeah?
A gang of cops just came in the lobby. They asked for you.
Must be the reserve men from Metropolitan. Tell them we'll be right down, Ford.
Okay.
You want us to handle it, Ed?
That's right. Do just as I told you. Spread them out over the whole area. Cover the streets, the alleys, the flop houses, restaurants, bars, everything. You got a description to go on. Find the man that fits it.
Right, Skipper.
Don't forget, The guy's a killer twice over. I don't think he'd hesitate on you. Be careful.
We went down to the lobby, and Ed Backstrand gave the reserve men their orders. Then Backstrand left, and Ben and I took over. We picked up another half dozen men in addition to the men in the reserve unit. They were deployed over an area of a dozen square blocks. It was one of the toughest sections of the city. With a general description of the suspect, some of them were to travel on foot, some in cruiser cars. A few minutes before 1 a.m., there was a steady downpour. Visibility was bad. At 3 minutes past 1, the manhunt was on. For the first 30 minutes, Ben and I cruised the general area between East 3rd and College Streets and Alameda and Figueroa. No sign. The rain kept on. We sat and listened to the calls come in.
12A, call your station. 12A, KMA 367. Attention, all units. Recovered license plates in the 6th column. 4 Young. 7690. 41R, 788 Standard Avenue, or 373. 41R, KMA 367. Unit 71 at 2816 West La Cienega, a 507 party.
What do you think, Joe? Any hunches?
I think he's still around. Somewhere inside these 12 blocks. I'd bet on it.
5?
All right, you're on.
Want to check out a couple of these bars along here? Getting on to closing time.
It's a good idea. Pull over, huh? All right, let's check him for the next couple of blocks, huh?
Right.
For the next 6 blocks until closing time, Ben and I checked every bar and every informant we met along the way. The questions got to be automatic. Have you seen a man answering this description? Tall, dark, about 5 feet 11, 180 pounds, well-built, mustache, about 30 years old. The answers got to be automatic, too.
Sorry, officer, I haven't seen him.
No, can't remember him. Try the place down the street.
We kept on checking the bars until they closed for the night. Then we started on the all-night restaurants and coffee counters. We did plenty of legwork for the next hour. Not a trace. About 2:30, the rain let up a little, and then it started in heavy all over again.
That finishes that block.
Yeah, I better get the radio on.
Yeah. Beautiful weather.
By the bucketful. You want to smoke?
Thank you.
Control 4 to Unit 80K.
Is
Your
that a match?
location, please.
Yeah.
80K, your location. KMA 367.
That's us, Joe. You want to take it?
Yeah, I got it. 80K to Control 4. 80K to Control 4. Our location, corner of Alameda and Commercial. KMA 367.
80K, stand by.
Something doing.
Maybe. No, hold on a minute.
Control 4 to 80K. Go to the crime lab, code 2.
80K to Control 4, KMA 367.
Crime lab. Maybe those prints paid off.
Well, I hope so. Let's go.
That killer sure picked fine weather to work in. Feels like I just been swimming in these clothes.
Yeah, I hope those guys in the crime lab have the heater on.
A hot bath and a warm bed lead me on.
Attention, all units.
Hold on, let's get the radio.
All units. At 420 St. John's Place, a woman screaming. At 420 St. John's Place, a woman...
All right, double around, Ben. Hit the siren. I'll get the light.
Right, hold on. Left turn on the market, is that right?
Yeah, watch out for those car tracks. They're wet.
Hold on again.
The alley up ahead to your right, huh? All right, pull up, Ben. Put the street light over there.
There you are.
All right, come on. Let's go.
Officer, over here!
All right, what happened? Let's have it.
This girl, Rita, she was coming home up the street. A man, he tried to grab her. He slashed her coat. Look at her. I saw him as he ran under the street light.
Where'd he go?
Down that way, down the alley, over that fence there. A big man.
Davis, you there?
Yeah, Joe.
All right, Ben, go with Davis. Circle behind the alley. See what you can find. I'll call in.
All right, come on, Dave.
Yeah. Oh, but look at her face. What's wrong with her?
Severe state of shock, it looks like. Get her in the house, huh? I'll call an ambulance. 80K to Control 4. 80K to Control 4.
Hotel. Go ahead.
Direct all units in the vicinity to converge on area around St. John's Place from Jackson to Banning Street. A woman attacked by large man with knife. Suspect left seen on foot, possibly still in area. Request ambulance. KMA 367.
80K, Roger, stand by. Attention, all units. Attention, all units. Converge on area around St. John's Place, Jackson to Banning Street. 80K reports woman attacked by large man with knife. Suspect left seen on foot.
In 3 minutes, the area around St. John's Place was surrounded. For the next hour, the men combed the neighborhood back and forth. Every building, every storehouse in the 2 square blocks was searched from basement to attic. No trace. The girl, Rita, was hysterical. She could give us only a bare description of her attacker. At 3:45 a.m., a detail was assigned to patrol the area and the rest of the cars, and men were deployed again in the general area from Figueroa to Alameda Street and East 3rd to College Street. The manhunt went on. So did the rain. At 3:54, Ben and I checked in at the Old City Jail building, 2nd floor, the crime lab. Chief Ed Backstrand and Lee Jones were waiting for us.
Heard about the call. How'd he get away?
Not sure it was him, Skipper.
How do you mean?
Well, the girl wasn't hurt bad for one thing. No attempted strangling. For another thing, the guy stole her purse. That doesn't sound like the man we're after.
Did you get a description from the girl?
Didn't jibe too well, what she gave us. She was pretty hysterical.
And you raked the neighborhood good?
Every corner. Not a sign. You find anything?
Yeah. Jones?
Yeah, Ed.
Fill them in, will you?
Not one print on that knife you found, boys. Blood, but not a print. Your killer's crazy like a fox.
And how about the scrapings from the girl's fingernails, Lee?
Didn't help too much. Rarely do. Not enough to go on. Gotta have a fair-sized bit of flesh to run it for papal ridges. All we found under the girl's fingernails were small bits of skin.
Yeah?
She probably scratched the guy up some. Might have drawn blood. We had more luck with the footprints.
You get an impression?
Dried out the ground with torches and cast them. About size 10B.
That's fine, Lee. But how about the prints?
Only good one was a thumb. Real good. Got it off the wall near the light switch in the bathroom.
Did you classify it yet?
Yep. Found it in our single fingerprint file. The print belongs to a man by the name of Long. Robert Long.
You got a record, Ed?
Yeah. Misdemeanor. 2 arrests for drunkenness last October. Petty theft in December. The mama sheet shows a dishonorable discharge from the United States Coast Guard in 1946. Age 29, 192 pounds, 5 feet 10 inches, dark hair, dark eyes.
That's close enough.
We got even closer, Joe. Long works as a counterman at the Cottage Cafe down on South Flower. Started there last week on the early morning shift, but he didn't show up for work last night.
Good. Where'd you get the tip?
The knife you boys found. It didn't have any prints, but it had a brand on it. We ran it down. It was taken from the Cottage Cafe.
Mm-hmm. Any address on this Robert Long, Ed?
Yeah, got it from his boss. Rooming house on East 1st. Landlady says he hasn't been home in 2 nights.
Yeah, now we wait.
Rooming house is staked out, and so is the Cottage Cafe, just in case Long decides to show up for work this morning. What time you got, Romero?
6 minutes past 4.
All right. We've got every indication that Robert Long's the man we're after. His description, fingerprints, the knife, the footprint, his size. Maybe we're wrong. I don't think so.
How about a motive, Ed?
I think Robert Long likes to kill. He's thirsty for it. None of the victims were criminally attacked. They were strangled. Bodies mutilated.
How about robbery?
No. 2 of the women he killed had money in their purses. He didn't touch it.
Well, what's next, Skipper? Back on the street?
Figueroa to Alameda, East 3rd to College Street. Keep a net around that area and work it back and forth until we're positive he's not inside. I think he is.
At 10 minutes past 4 a.m., Ed Backstrand, Ben, and I left the crime lab and drove to the surrounded area. It was still raining. We passed several patrolmen from the reserve unit making the rounds. They didn't look any more comfortable than we felt. At Broadway and Alpine Street, Ben and I got out and started patrolling on foot again. Backstrand followed in the car to maintain a radio check. We must have covered 24 blocks and a half a dozen coffee counters before we got to the Criterion Restaurant and Donut Shop, a few blocks up the street from the Cottage Cafe.
Hey, Skipper, you want to take a minute for some hot coffee? I'll keep an ear on the radio.
You two go ahead. You look drenched.
Yeah, we are. Can we bring you some back in a paper carton?
Fine, thanks. Cream. No sugar.
All right, Ed. Come on, Ben.
Place is empty.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, gentlemen. What'll it be? Hot coffee?
Yeah, there's two of us here. Can you fix up one to go?
Sure thing.
Say, on that one to go, cream, no sugar.
Right. Say, you fellas cops?
Yeah, why?
No offense, just wondering. Here you are.
Thank you.
Cop in uniform was around a couple hours ago. Wanted to know if I'd seen some guy he was looking for.
Tall, about 190 pounds, mustache, about 30 years old.
Yeah, that's the description he gave me. He was looking for the guy.
So are we.
Say, that's good. That other cop came in right at my busiest time, a little after 2 when the bars closed. You know, it gets pretty rushed, and I didn't have much time to think, so I just said no. Then after the cop left, I remembered.
You saw a man answering that description tonight?
Yeah. I would have told the cop, but I was rushed. You know how it is. No time to think, and then I remembered.
Are you sure?
Oh, I'm sure, all right. Whoever he is, he's a lady killer.
What do you mean?
No offense. There was a sharp-looking dame down the end of the counter, and this guy breezes in and picks her up. Talks to her about 20 minutes, buys her a cup of coffee, and they walk out together.
Do you remember what she looked like?
Oh, nice-looking dame. Not beautiful, you know, more on the cute side.
Ben, you got that morgue shot?
Oh, yeah. Here it is.
Thanks. Here's a picture. This the girl?
Let's see. Yeah, that's her. Who is she?
I don't know, mister. Down at the morgue, they call her Jane Doe, number 7. Just by accident, we'd come across a concrete lead on the killer's method of operation. The picture we showed the man in the donut shop was a shot of the strangler's first victim the night before. Evidently, the killer would enter a bar, coffee shop, or restaurant, strike up a conversation with a woman, make friends with her, either buy her drinks or invite her to a bar in the neighborhood, and then the rest of the puzzle was still unsolved. We went back to the cottage cafe and checked with the men on stakeout.
Not a sign of them, Chief.
How are you men covering the place?
Baxter up in front and the booth across from the cash register. Lyman's back with the dishwashers. I'm at the counter.
When's Long due to report for work, Dave?
At 5. About 20 minutes to go.
You're lucky you're inside. It's wet out there.
You'll look it.
All right, Davis. We'll be around about 5.
Right, Chief.
Let's get back in the car.
Where to, Skipper?
Cruise the next 2 blocks, but don't go too far. If Long shows up for work this morning, we want to be around.
The next 10 minutes dragged by. The rain kept on. Backstrand chewed nervously on a cigar. At South Flower and 1st Street, the sewers were clogged with street refuse. The rain backed up and filled the intersection. A group of aircraft workers huddled together in a doorway on one corner, waiting for the bus. It was cold and damp. I opened one of the back windows in the car to get some fresh air in. Off in the distance and close by, we could hear the sounds of a big city waking up slow to a rainy January morning. It was 8 minutes to 5.
Attention all units. Attention all units. At 780 East Main, a restaurant. Man answering description of murder suspect.
All right, Romero, step on it.
Right, Skipper.
About 10 blocks away, Ed. Who's going to cover the men at the cottage cafe?
If this is a blind lead, it won't take us long to find out. They can handle it alone if they have to.
Well, hang on. Look out. We're skidding.
That was a close one, Ben.
Yeah. If this is the guy, I owe you $5, right?
Yeah.
Attention all units. Additional information on your call to 780 East Main. Officers in pursuit of suspect. Suspect is on foot.
Step on it, Romero.
Attention all
2 more
units.
blocks, Skipper.
Watch it, Ben. Next one to the left.
Got it.
That's the joint up ahead there.
All right, watch your step and don't take chances. Don't play with him.
Right.
Here we go.
He went out the back, ran down that alley.
Come on, Ben.
Behind you.
You men, hustle it. Circle around the block and choke off the alley. Fast. Emerson, Holmes, go with them. Right.
All right, over the fence, Ben. Ben, look out, look out. You all right?
It's not that good. Come on, Joe. All right. There he goes. Between the buildings.
Stop or I'll shoot.
The next house. He ducked into the basement.
All right, cover me.
Right.
Come on, he broke through the garage doors.
There's Davis.
Dave, he slipped through. Get down to the next corner and ring the block. Yeah. Ben, did you follow him?
Yeah, right on his tail, that warehouse, a couple of lots over. He went through the back. There it is, Joe.
All right, don't go in blind. Watch out. All right, you haven't got a chance. Come out with your hands up.
He's not stopping, Joe.
All right, let's fan out. All right, Ben, cover me. I'm going for the door. All right, Ben, come on. You're clear. You spot him? There he is. Let's get him.
Close. He's in a good spot. Let's move.
He's up in the loft. Come on, let's head for the stairs.
Will you?
Easy. You spot him, Ben?
Not a sign.
Ben, look out, that packing tail.
Kind of close, huh, Joe?
Yeah. Let's get that punk now.
Look out, Joe, there's another one.
All right, you. We got the warehouse surrounded. Come on down. All right, then we'll blast you out.
Joe, he's dropping down the ladder. He's going for the front door.
They're waiting for you with Tommy guns out there. They'll cut you down. Stop.
Joe, he's got the door open. He's making a break for it.
He's crazy. He's trying to shoot his way out. Well, he asked for it.
Yeah. Let's take a look. Messed up.
Well, like his girlfriends.
Yeah. Maybe he just didn't like women.
Maybe. Hi, Ed.
You all right?
Tired.
This is him, huh? Even the scratches that girl made on his face. Description match?
5'10", 192 pounds, dark hair, dark eyes, age 29. Robert Long, killer.
The story you have just heard is true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
You have just heard the 10th in a new series of authentic cases transcribed from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet is furnished by the Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to Detective Louis A. Abbott of the Chicago Police Department, who on the afternoon of March 3rd, 1947, gave his life so that yours might be more secure.
Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles. If you enjoyed tonight's production of Dragnet, you'll probably want to listen this Saturday evening to a pair of adventure shows featuring two well-known Hollywood personalities. You'll enjoy Brian Donlevy, star of Dangerous Assignment. Also on Saturday's schedule is Richard Diamond, private detective, as played by the screen's romantic tough guy, Dick Powell. Listen to both of these exciting programs this Saturday over most of these NBC stations. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Keep it tuned right here to HOJO Radio for more classic old-time radio.
Here is another in NBC's great parade of new shows.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. A sudden wave of jewel thefts is sweeping the city. In 16 days, 16 burglaries have been committed, one each night. They bear the same trademark. Thousands of dollars of jewels are missing. The thief is a master at his trade. Your job, get him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, June 17th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way into work that morning, and it was 7:53 a.m. when I got to room 45. Burglary detail.
Hi, Joe.
How are you, Walker?
Gonna be a scorcher out today.
Yeah, just like yesterday. Ben in yet?
I think he's over in communications picking up the mail.
Thanks.
You guys been busy?
Yeah, kind of. Jewel thefts.
Anything big?
No big hauls, but he's consistent. 16 nights in a row.
Same guy?
Think so. Same M.O.
Yeah, everybody's got troubles. Gotta check some records. See you later, Joe.
Okay, Willie. Burglary Friday. Yeah. Okay, Mike, soon as Ben gets back. He's picking up the mail. Right, bye.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Ben. Hannon just called. Chief wants to see us.
Take a look at these first.
What do you got, overnight reports?
Yeah, here, these two.
Yeah.
2 of them.
3 diamond rings, 1 sapphire, 1 necklace, jade. Big haul.
Look at the other one.
Lady's watch, diamond band, emerald bracelet, tourmaline brooch. What's tourmaline, Ben?
I don't know. Must be valuable. It's gone.
Let's see. Owner left house about 9 p.m., returned about 1:30 a.m., found property gone, scratches on the door.
Probably using the cellophane method. Hasn't missed yet.
2 in 1 night. Well, he's picking up his pace.
Must have a bag full of loot somewhere, whoever it is. You get the description sheets from pawn shop detail?
Yeah, got them right here. You take half of them. Let's see what luck we got this morning.
Yeah.
Nothing so far.
Me neither. Let's see. I'll get it, Joe. Burglar Romero.
Hi, Ben. Chief still wants to talk to you, boys. He's got an appointment at 8:30. Wants to see you before he leaves.
Okay, Mike. Just checking some buy sheets. Be right in.
Better make it fast. He's in a bad mood this morning.
Okay, Mike. Thank you.
Backstrand again?
Yeah, he's in a bad mood. Come on. Wonder what's bothering him.
Something's bad. He doesn't blow very often.
Chief of Detective's Office, Hannon. Go ahead in, boys. He's waiting.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, ma'am. I'll connect you.
Friday, Romero, sit down. Wait till I get the phone. Backstrand. Oh, yes, Mrs. Winthrop. Yes, ma'am. We're doing all we can. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, ma'am. Goodbye.
Got trouble, Ed?
Taxpayer, Mrs. Winthrop. You two ought to remember the name.
We do, Skipper.
10 days ago, somebody lifted $2,000 worth of diamonds from her bedroom while she was at the symphony. Last night, she was hit again. A diamond watch, an emerald bracelet, and some kind of a brooch.
Tourmaline.
I don't care what kind it was. It's gone. What's the pitch?
We just read a report a couple of minutes ago, Skipper. Could be a tie-in with those other 16 jobs.
16 jobs in 16 days. You haven't got a lead on the thief yet?
Nothing shows up. No prints, nothing.
What about the pawn shops?
Nobody's tried to soak any hot stuff as far as we know. We double-checked the detail. We got every hock shop in town on the alert.
Whoever it is, they've got to try to pawn the stuff sometime. Unless they're going to give diamond rings for Christmas presents.
And they haven't tried the pawn shops yet, Skipper. We're sure of that.
Look, 16 burglaries in 16 days. Jewels and watches. Good ones. Well, it's got to stop. It's got to stop soon, you understand?
We'll stay right on top of it, Ed. We're doing all we can.
For 2 weeks, I've had half a dozen women calling me every day. Society women. Some of them figure they should get extra treatment.
They're only DR numbers to us, Skipper. They all get the same attention.
I'll try and explain that to some of them. They think you're in on the racket. Maybe you boys would like to take these calls some morning.
No thanks, Ed.
All right, then, let's get some action. Keep the pawn shop operators on their toes and get after every known fence in town. That's all. I've got an appointment.
All right, Ed. Check you later.
Holding a call for you, Ben.
Oh, thank you. Hello. Oh, hi, Max. What? Well, hold it. Be right down. First break, Joe.
What do you got?
Necklace and a watch. Both of them on the stolen property list.
Where?
Henry's Pawn Shop. 5th and Main.
6 minutes later, at 8:25 a.m., Ben and I drove up in front of Henry's Square Deal Pawn Shop. Quick cash. No red tape. Watches bought and sold. The proprietor was Max Murphy, an old friend of Ben's.
Well, pal, of all days, it had to happen yesterday. Took the day off and went fishing up at Big Bear. I left my nephew in charge, Harry. A real knothead, that kid.
How do you mean, Max?
Joe, if I told him once, I told him 101. Whatever you do, whatever they come in with to Hawk, check it with the list. Check it with the stolen property list. What does he do?
He forgot.
He forgot. Oh, a real knothead, that boy.
How old is he, Max?
32. A real knothead. I checked the slips from yesterday. Then I checked the stolen property list. There it is. Hot stuff.
When did the stuff come in, Max, do you know?
About 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Can we look at it?
Oh, sure. Back here behind the counter. There it is.
Did you check out the serial numbers on the watch yet, Max?
When I found out, yes. They match to a T.
All right, let's see. Yeah. Description on this necklace matches, too. Let's have a look at your buy book, huh, Max?
Yes, sir, Joe. Here you are. There's a deal right there.
Here?
Yeah, that's him. That's how he gave his name.
Walter Tracy, 132.5 Blackstone Court, Los Angeles.
Let me check the book for the description, Max.
Oh, sure. Yeah, here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Max, thanks. We'll be checking with you later.
Sure, Joe. Anytime. Sorry.
All right, Max. See you later.
You fellas take it easy.
Right. Want to check and see if we're clear, Joe?
Yeah, I will. 80K to Control 1. 80K to Control 1. Are we clear?
Control 1 to 80K, stand by.
Good lead, Joe. Got a description in here.
Yeah, it's too bad Max's nephew had to slip up.
Control 1 to 80K, call your office immediately. Call your office immediately. KMA 367.
Wonder what that's about.
I don't know. I'll call in.
You got some change?
I'll use Max's phone. Use your phone a minute, Max?
Oh, you, Ben? Sure, help yourself.
Thank you.
City Hall.
2524.
2524.
Burglary. Levine.
This is Ben, George. You got something?
Hot one. Universal Loan Shop, 6th and Barton Place. Guy just took in a couple of rings. He checked too late.
What you mean?
He checked the form after the guy left. It was signed Walter Tracy.
There they are, Sergeant. Both rings. Fine quality diamonds.
Don't you usually check your stolen goods list before you take in stuff like this?
Usually, yes. Last night, no. I don't know what I was thinking about.
Can we have a look at your buy book?
Right here. There it is. Walter Tracy. 699 Olive Street. 145 pounds, 5'9", dark hair, build, thin.
We'll have to slap a hold on these rings.
I know. I should have thought.
Can you think of anything else that might help us to identify the man?
Well, no. Had a light suit on. Nice cut. Very well dressed.
Thank you. That's all for now. Here's our card.
If the guy happens to drop back, give us a call, will you?
Sure will, Sergeant. Say,
Yeah?
I've got some nice watch bands. Yours look old. Can I interest you?
No, thanks. Some other time. Come on, Ben. That afternoon and the following morning, despite our alert and our warnings, 2 more pawn shops called in with reports of stolen watches taken in. We checked them out. The serial numbers on the watches matched those on the stolen property list. On the pawn shop account books, the loan was listed under the name Walter Tracy. The addresses were given as number 12 St. Vincent Place and 700 East Flower. The descriptions of the man were the same. Slight build, well-dressed, about 145 pounds, 5 feet 9 inches tall, dark wavy hair. We had the name and description distributed to every pawn shop in Los Angeles and surrounding communities. Through our informants, we checked up on every known fence in the city. For the next 2 nights, we received no reports of stolen jewels. That made up for the double burglary the night before. On June 19th, the box score read 18 successive nights, 18 successive jewel burglaries. At 3:25 in the afternoon, Ben and I sat down to check over the late incoming reports.
Got anything, Joe?
Not yet, no.
Nothing here. Maybe the guy's left town.
Nope. No such luck. Take a look.
That's it, number 19. He may set a record.
Well, he's making monkeys out of us, isn't he? Look, man's watch, lady's watch, Chinese amber necklace, diamond shirt, studs, and a bracelet with 2 large rubies.
He's getting ambitious. How's the value listing?
Let's see. $1,800. One haul. I'll get it. Burglary Friday. Yeah. What? Yeah. Be right down. Stall him. Let's go, Ben.
Where?
Kaplan's down on East 2nd. Walter Tracy's in there now, trying to hock a gold watch. Ben, cover the door. I'll give it a look like I'm shopping around.
Right, but watch your step. We don't know this guy.
Yeah, stay close to the door, huh?
I'm sorry, that's the best we can do on the watch.
Look, Mac, this is gold. 21 jewels.
Well, that's the best I can do.
Drop dead.
What's the best I can do? Don't get sore.
Yeah, sure. See you later.
That's him, Sergeant. Walter Tracy. I stalled him as long as I could.
All right, I'll check back with you later. Did you spot the guy that just came out?
Yeah, I went up straight.
Let's follow him. Hustle it. You spot him, Ben?
Straight ahead, about 15 yards. He's crossing the street.
Yeah, let's get up a little closer.
We'll lose him, sure, if the light changes.
Come on, run for it. Watch the traffic light.
Yeah. That was close.
He might have spotted us. It's going faster.
Come on, Joe, run.
Yeah. Don't lose him.
This crowd's not helping.
Hey, wait a minute. I bet you're a cop. You're chasing somebody.
All right, let go of my arm, mister. Let go.
Well, you don't have to get tough. Lousy cops think they own the street. I'm going to write the mayor's office.
Come on, Joe. He's running for it.
Yeah, I see him. Watch the signal up ahead.
Hurry, Joe. Almost up to him.
Into the parking lot. Hey, you! Stop!
Look out, Joe. A gun.
Yeah, I see him.
All right, get away.
All right, smart guy.
It's a nice job.
Yeah. He's too fast for an honest man. Let's take him in. When we got back to headquarters, Walter Tracy was under technical arrest. We took him directly to the interrogation room. We searched him thoroughly. We had him take everything out of his pockets and put it on the table. Then we had him take all the money he had in his wallet, count it out, and hold it in his hand.
What is all this routine?
That's all the money you have on you? $47.17, right?
Yeah.
Okay, keep it in your hand. Ben, shake him down.
All right, Tracy. Take off your coat, shirt, tie, and your shoes and socks.
What kind of a pitch is this? I'm no hood.
Take them off.
Two big cops. You're not pinning anything on me. I don't care what you do.
Sleeves, pockets, lining. Nothing in the coat, Joe.
Get his shirt.
Take it light with the threads, huh? Costs money.
How about the trousers, Ben?
Let's see. Cuffs, pockets. No. Let me get the belt.
Zipper on the inside of the belt?
No, it's clean. Shoes are okay. All right, Tracy, let's see the soles of your feet.
I hope you don't mind. They're dirty.
Why don't you take a shower? Let's see. All right, Joe, nothing. Put your clothes back on.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, you. What's your name?
Huh?
I said, what's your name?
You telling jokes? Walter Tracy, you know that.
Your real name.
How old are you, Tracy?
27.
Where do you live?
No place. Just got in town a couple of days ago.
Where are you from?
Salina, Kansas.
Where you been sleeping the last 2 nights?
The park, Pershing Square.
Clothes don't show it. Pretty natty.
I had 'em pressed.
Where?
Down by the square. I don't remember.
You ever been arrested before?
No.
Where'd you get this gun, Tracy, the one you pulled on us?
I didn't know who you were. Could have been a couple of hoods. You kind of look like it.
Where'd you get the gun?
I won it in a crap game coming out on the train.
Where'd you get the watch?
Graduation present.
You want to run a make on him, Joe? The gun and the watch?
Yeah, I'll call him.
Go on, check. You can't prove a thing.
Pawn shop records, Gilmore.
Gil, is Friday. Can you give me a make on a watch?
Sure, Joe, go ahead.
Time Master, yellow gold, man's wristwatch.
Okay.
Case number 716F23.
Right.
Movement number B351708.
Got it.
Okay. Now give me a make on this gun, huh? 32 S&W automatic. Serial number 579461.
Okay.
Call me back?
Right. What's your station number?
2572.
I'll ring you, Joe.
Thanks.
Having fun?
What'd you do with all those jewels you stole?
When do I get out of here?
I don't think you're going to get out.
You got nothing on me.
How tall are you, Tracy?
Get your tape measure. 5'9".
How much you weigh?
140. I'm 27. My name's Walter Tracy. I come from Salina. I've been in town 2 days, and I don't know what you guys are talking about.
You sound smart. You don't act it.
And you're flying blind, copper.
What'd you do with those jewels you stole?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What color are your eyes?
I don't know. I'm colorblind.
What color would you say your hair is?
You colorblind, too?
You ever been arrested before?
Straighten out. He asked me that.
I'm asking you.
No.
You ever done any big time?
No.
All right, I don't care if you level with us or not. We're going to make you on those prowl jobs, all 19 of them.
Sure. You guys are smart.
You got in Los Angeles 2 days ago, is that right?
Yeah.
You don't know anything about any jewel thefts.
That's what I said.
And how come your name and your handwriting's on the account books in 4 pawn shops in Los Angeles?
It's not mine. You can't prove it.
We can, Tracy. Come clean. What'd you do with the stuff you stole from 1250 Moraga Drive, June 5th?
I didn't steal any stuff.
What'd you do with the rings and watches you took from 1400 Placerville Road, June 9th?
I wasn't in town.
What'd you do with the diamond dress pins you stole June 13th, 123 South Van Ness?
Did I do that?
You're not only kinky, you're a bad liar.
You prove it.
Order get you a sawbuck, your prints bounced, Tracy.
Our handwriting man's gone to work on those signatures of yours. You haven't got a chance. Now, come on. Where'd you hide this stuff?
You can't prove a thing.
Where'd you say you've been sleeping the last 2 nights?
In the park, Pershing Square. You want a map?
Clothes sure look nice.
I said I had 'em pressed.
But you can't remember where.
No, I can't remember where. That a crime?
Friday talking.
Joe, this is Gilmore. Here's the stuff you asked for.
Let's have it, Gil.
No make on the watch, no make on the gun.
Okay, Gil. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
You're in up to your neck.
You said that, didn't you?
You're gonna talk, Tracy.
Kind of tired.
All right, we'll let you sleep on it. Come on, Ben. Let's book him.
Right.
I'll get your jobs, coppers.
Sure. Come on. We took Walter Tracy to the county jail and had him booked on suspicion of burglary. He was still sullen. We knew we had the guilty man. Now we had to prove it. As it often happens, the victims never see the burglar. They only know he's been there. They can't identify him, but they can identify their property. Our job was to find the property. When we did, we'd have Walter Tracy. And the 19 victims would have their property returned. But Tracy wasn't talking, and we knew he'd never talk unless he thought it might help him. We took the problem to Ed Backstrand.
Smart punk, Skipper, but he's done time before.
How do you know?
Tried him out last night when we brought him in. He talks like it and he acts like it.
But he won't cop out. Are you sure?
He won't talk in 100 years. He knows he's got us in a spot.
Well, one thing's sure. We're not going to send him up without finding the loot first. He's planted this stuff somewhere in this city. We've got to find it.
Ben and I have got an idea, Ed. It's not going to be easy, but it might work.
What is it?
Tracy tried to soak some of the stolen property at 4 separate pawn shops in the downtown area.
Yeah?
At each one of those 4 pawn shops, he gave a local address. Now, we're sure he must have a room or an apartment someplace in town.
All right. Where?
That's where guesswork comes in, Skipper. Every one of those addresses he gave falls within a certain area.
How big an area?
Oh, you've got that street diagram, Joe?
Yeah. Here it is, Ed. From Figueroa here to San Pedro, and from Pico down to 1st Street. The area's about 12 blocks wide, 14 blocks long.
That's a lot of territory. How are you going to cover it?
On foot. We'll take Tracy with us.
Plenty of legwork. You sure it's the answer?
We've got to find the stuff, and it's the only way we can figure it.
Hotels, apartments, rooming houses. There must be hundreds of places he could stay in that territory. It'll take a couple of weeks.
Yeah, on foot it will.
All right. It's tough, but it's your idea. Go to it.
An hour after we left Chief Backstrand, we got Tracy out of his cell in the county jail and started our canvass of the appointed area. We took the usual precautions and handcuffed Tracy's wrists to our own. We started the search for his hideout at 1st Street in Figueroa. It was a warm day in Los Angeles. The temperature was 91. After the first 3 hours, I could tell Ben's feet were ready to give out, and so were mine. We couldn't even have the comfort of complaining. That had encouraged Tracy, and he was cocky enough already. He cursed and threatened every step of the way.
My legs off. All right, quit pulling, will you?
Come on, Tracy, up the stairs. Another one to check.
Warm day, Joe.
Yeah, a little.
What do you mean, a little? Must be 110.
Yes? What is it?
You the manager?
Yes.
Could you tell me which apartment this man has in your house, ma'am?
Who, him?
Yes, ma'am, this one.
Never saw him before. He don't live here.
All right, ma'am, thank you.
Yeah. Hot, ain't it?
When are you going to get wise?
Come on, Tracy.
Well, that finishes this side of the street. You want to cross over, Joe?
Yeah. Let's go.
I'm hungry. I want to eat.
After we cover the other side of the street.
You can't do this to me. I'm going to get a lawyer. I'll have your jobs, both of you.
Yeah, come on. We only got a couple of hundred places to cover.
Hi, gents. What can I do for you?
You the manager?
I run the place, yeah.
Which room does this man have in your place?
Him? You made a mistake. He doesn't live here.
All right, thanks.
My feet are killing me. Wait till I get a lawyer. I'll burn both of you dumb cops. What do you think you're doing anyway? Making a guy work?
All that day and the day after that and the day after that, Ben and I, with Tracy handcuffed to our wrists, canvassed the designated areas, from hotel to hotel, from rooming house to rooming house, and the apartments, too. Every day our feet ached a little more, our pace slowed down, Tracy got more irritable, and the weather got hotter. The second day, it reached a high of 92. The third day, 94. The fourth day, 94. Police regulations say plainclothes officers must wear a coat and necktie on the street at all times. We wore our coats and neckties. The search continued into the fifth day. Our pace got even slower. Ben and I started to lose heart. After a while, we forgot our object was to recover the stolen jewels. All we wanted was to find Tracy's hideout. We knew we were right. We knew Tracy was our man. It was a point of pride. Whether your feet hurt or not, you don't give in to a thief.
Yes? What do you want?
You the landlady here?
I am.
Which apartment does this man have in the building?
Well, none of them. He's not one of my tenants.
Thank you, ma'am. Come on, Tracy.
By the sixth day, all three of us had special pads in our shoes. Our feet ached worse than ever. Tracy let us know about his every 3 minutes. By late afternoon of the sixth day, we'd covered more than half of the designated area. The temperature was 95.
You guys gonna go on forever? I'm sweating like a horse.
I'm getting tired of your moaning.
That looks like the manager behind the desk.
Yes, sir?
You the manager?
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
Can you tell us which room this man has in the hotel?
Him? He doesn't live here. Hey, you fellas look awfully warm. Like to cool off in the lobby? We're air-conditioned.
No, thanks.
I'm hungry. When do we eat?
You're always hungry.
You got the biggest mouth on a cop I ever saw.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah.
I'm hungry. I want to eat. Now. Wait till I give this story to the papers. Mistreating innocent guys. They'll break you.
All right. Come on, up the stairs.
I'm going to get a lawyer. Tonight. I'll show you.
Yes? Why, Mr. Baker, where have you been?
We questioned the landlady, a Miss Elizabeth Hunter. She told us that Baker, alias Tracy, had rented an apartment from her about 2 months before. That's all the information she could give us. Tracy clammed up. He would admit nothing. We asked Miss Hunter to accompany us as a witness. We took the elevator up to Tracy's apartment on the 6th floor. Miss Hunter, Tracy, Ben, and I.
Down this way. Here. Do you want me to open it?
Please, Miss Hunter.
What? There's a girl. Walter? What is it, Walter?
I told you to get out of town if I didn't come back.
I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave without you.
I thought you slept in the park.
Take a jump.
Where's the stuff hidden?
All right, Ben, handcuff him to a chair. The girl behind him. We'll find the stuff ourselves.
All right, Tracy. All right, you're next.
I haven't done anything neither, see, you can't prove it.
Billy, shut up.
That's better. No talking between you two. If there is, we'll separate you.
All right, Ben, you take the living room here. I'll try the kitchen. And get a window open. It's hot in here.
All right.
Sergeant, you will be careful of the furniture.
Yes, ma'am.
I had no idea. You, Mr. Baker, of all people.
Don't talk to him, please, ma'am.
Oh, yes.
Tin cop.
Why don't you spell?
Ben, look. It's only the beginning. He's got the stuff scattered 7 ways for Sunday. We're going to need help.
In the milk bottle?
Yeah, 2 rings, 3 loose diamonds, and this bottle of mayonnaise. We found some kind of a brooch in it. A couple of watches taped to the underside of the kitchen sink.
All right, you. Convinced?
Okay, Ben, call Backstrand. There was a definite possibility that Walter Baker, alias Tracy, had stored some of his stolen loot outside his apartment. We stood little chance of ever recovering it unless we got him to break. Ben called Chief Backstrand, and in 10 minutes he arrived at the apartment with another man from burglary detail, George Levine. Together we went over the 4-room apartment foot by foot. We found jewelry, watches, loose stones in every conceivable place. In cartons of cottage cheese, in jars of cold cream, in the garbage can, everywhere.
Who's your girlfriend? All right, I'll ask her. What's your name? I said, what is your name?
Billy. Billy Crawford. He didn't do anything. He didn't.
All right, Billy. Maybe you can tell us. Where's the rest of the stuff he stole?
He didn't steal. He didn't steal anything.
Billy, shut up.
Keep quiet, you.
Ed, wait a minute.
What?
Just a minute. I want to look over here.
Papers. Taped to the underside of that top drawer.
What is it, Friday?
No, you can't. You can't.
Look at these.
All right, you found them. I'll talk.
No, Walter, don't.
Parole papers. He's an ex-con.
Yeah, I'll cop out.
Don't do it, Walter.
Billy, shut up. Dumb dame.
The rest of the stuff, where is it?
On the roof. Inside the ventilator, the one near the front, you'll find a couple of paper bags. That's it.
Levine? Got it, Chief. I'll check it. Your papers say you did time in Oregon. What for?
Fell for robbery. Did 5. I owe him 7.
What about the girl?
Walter, I'm going with you.
Her? I don't know. You figure it.
All right, Friday. Romero, take the girl to Lincoln Heights and book her. We'll take him.
Right, Ed. Come on, Ben.
No, Walter, I want to go with you.
I'm sorry, ma'am. This way out.
All right, easy, lady.
No, wait a minute. Just a minute. Walter?
You're a dumb dame, Billy. So long.
Walter.
All right, come on, let's go. What's the matter? You feel all right?
He lied. He said he loved me. He lied to me.
Don't feel hurt, lady. He lied to everybody.
The story you have just heard is true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
Walter Baker, alias Walter Tracy, was tried and convicted on 3 counts of first-degree burglary and received the maximum sentence prescribed by law. He is now serving out his term in the state penitentiary. A hold has been placed on him by the state of Oregon, where he will serve out 7 years for violation of parole. Billy Crawford, Baker's accomplice, was tried and convicted of receiving stolen property and is now serving time in the state penitentiary for women. You have just heard the 11th in a new series of authentic cases transcribed from official police files. Technical advice for Dragnet is furnished by the Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to Warden Clarence A. Larkin of Folsom Prison, Sacramento, who, on the evening of September 24th, 1937, gave his life so that yours might be more secure.
Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles. If you enjoyed tonight's production of Dragnet, you'll want to listen this Saturday evening to a pair of adventure shows featuring 2 well-known Hollywood personalities. You'll enjoy Brian Donlevy, star of Dangerous Assignment. Also on Saturday's schedule is Richard Diamond, private detective, as played by the screen's romantic tough guy, Dick Powell. Listen to both of these exciting programs this Saturday over most of these same NBC stations. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Our next broadcast is heralded as the only national program that brings you authentic police case history. It premiered as G-Men, sponsored by Chevrolet on July 20th of 1935. And then in January 15th of 1936, the show changed its name and had a 21-year run through November 20th of 1957. Beginning with a barrage of loud sound effects, guns firing, and tires squealing, this intrusive introduction led to the popular catchphrase, "Came on like gangbusters," next on HOJO Radio.
And now, in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States, CBS Radio presents Gangbusters! Gangbusters, the only national program that brings you authentic police case histories, has asked the Honorable Edward L. Dowd, First Assistant Circuit Attorney of St. Louis, Missouri, to narrate by proxy tonight's case. Circuit Attorney Dowd.
Thank you, and good evening, Gangbusters listeners. Let's begin tonight's case on a cold winter morning a year or so ago in the city of St. Louis, Missouri. The proprietress of a small, unkempt confectionery store on South Broadway had just opened the place for the day's business and was tidying up the tiny soda fountain.
Morning, Annabelle.
Told you no last night, Wally. The answer's still no.
Crying out loud. You think it was a fortune? You could stake a guy to a couple of hundred.
Why?
Now, Annabelle, be reasonable. I'm good for it. You know I'm good for it.
Why does a guy in your position need to come looking for handouts? You know where to get it. Why don't you go out and make it?
The heat's on, Annabelle. The town is hotter than a $2 pistol shooting blanks.
Don't blame me. I didn't make the heat.
These guys have really been burning up the town. Remember that clothing store man?
Yeah.
Them. That was them. Of course, I'm not saying it was their fault the guy got shot. Somebody comes in and heists the place. A reasonable thing to do is give him the money. He fought them, so what does he get?
A nice funeral.
And the hotel clerk, I hear that was them, too. So you can see why all the heat is on, Annabelle. So I figured to get out for a while. I'd take a ride to KC and take things easy for a couple of weeks.
I should give you the 200. Have to come looking for you in Kansas City.
You won't have to come looking for me, Annabelle. I'm good for it. You know I'm good for it.
Then go borrow from a bank.
Listen to me, Annabelle, heart to heart. A guy with a little heat on him can't even walk in the streets in comfort anymore. The first thing he knows, he's downtown with the law nagging the life out of him. You can't work under these conditions.
My heart is bleeding for you.
This mob has been burning up the town with one blast after another, and the pressure is coming down on the cops from all over. It's a risk to stick your head on the street while this mob is still operating.
What mob? Who are they?
How should I know who are they?
I thought you knew everything, Wally.
I never heard of them. What do you say, Annabelle?
No is no. Worm's a redhead, the papers say. You know of any redheaded heavy men around town?
No. Annabelle?
I got an idea, Wally. Have a chocolate malted on the house.
No, thanks. Much obliged.
My chocolate malteds aren't good enough for you, but you'll take my 200.
I ain't even had breakfast yet.
What's wrong with a chocolate malted for breakfast?
Annabelle, please.
No.
We've been friends for years.
I know. I want to keep it that way. If I give you the 200, that's the end of our friendship. Come in, come in.
Yeah, I'm in already.
What'll it be, mister?
Cup of coffee. Hello, Wally.
Red, how are you?
We don't have coffee. How about a nice cherry phosphate?
Nah, never mind.
A malted?
Now, skip it.
What are you doing around here, Red?
Yeah, seeing the sights.
Yeah?
How about a hot chocolate? That I can make you.
Nah, forget it. How you been, Wally? Busy?
No, not too.
I was told I could find you around here, Wally.
He's around here too much.
Gotta do something with my time.
Are you looking to make a connection?
That depends.
You like milk? I give you plain milk.
I want coffee.
You want coffee, you have to go elsewhere.
Red, it's a good deal.
Yeah, it's been good so far. Come on, let's go get that coffee someplace. We talk about it,
This ain't a restaurant I'm running. If I carried what everybody asked for, I'd have $1 million worth of stock.
It's all right. I'm not to put out none.
Well, go if you're going. Got plenty to clean up around.
Come on, Wally.
I'll see you, Annabelle.
Yeah, don't do me any favors.
Police department.
Sergeant Rickard, robbery squad.
Now, hold on, please. I'll connect you. Robbery squad, Sergeant Rickard.
There's Annabelle.
Yes, Annabelle.
You were looking to get a line on a redhead?
Yeah, so?
Maybe I just saw the one.
What's his name?
Red. His name is Red.
That's not much help.
This friend of mine was in the store crying about the heat around town because of all these heistings. Then this Red walks in. He and Wally are sidekicks from way back, I think. He wants to know if Wally would like to make a connection.
Well, what did Wally say?
He didn't say. They left together to talk it over.
For where?
How should I know for where? Did I follow them?
Okay, Annabelle, thanks. Keep your ears open now. In the meanwhile, we do some checking around.
Let me have a cigarette with you, Wally.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, tell me. What's the deal?
Wait a minute. Take it easy, I'll tell you. First, I want to know, is there any heat on you?
Heat on me?
Yeah.
You guys got all the heat in this town. You're running wild and the lid is on everybody.
Are you still a good man at the wheel you used to be, Wally?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Downtown, for instance. Can you wheel a car in there and get it out?
Yeah. What's a touch?
Jewelry house.
Just jewelry?
There'll be some cash involved, enough. But plenty of ice.
I don't like a jewelry deal. You break your back to get the scum and you can't turn it over for 20 cents on a dollar.
Well, it shouldn't make any difference if there's enough of it.
No, I guess it shouldn't.
And it's only a three-handed job.
Oh?
Yeah, that's all. A fair-sized score split up only three ways wouldn't be bad, huh?
What happened to the other two in the mob?
What other two?
Papers have been saying you were four-handed altogether.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, Wally, we were four-handed, but two of the boys pulled out.
Yeah? Why?
They thought there was too much heat for the fireworks. They started to cry, so Mac gave them the kiss-off.
Who's Mac?
You wouldn't know him. They've been his jobs.
What kind of guy is he?
After this one, I'll have had enough myself.
Cowboy?
No, not exactly. He ain't wild. He's got a head on his shoulders. Maybe that's his trouble, too much head. He thinks he's a mastermind.
I don't like that kind of deal. Every hand should have a say-so.
Not with Mac, they don't.
Who does this guy think he is? I don't know him. I don't know what he can do.
Don't get so independent. You told me you were behind the six. You can't get dough by being independent.
All right, I'll talk to him anyway.
I'm talking to you for him. Are you in, aren't you?
Okay, Red, I'm in.
Good.
Come on, let's go see this car.
Take it easy, will you? Give me a chance to drink my coffee. Besides, we can't meet him till tonight.
So, Matty, have to make an appointment?
He's a late sleeper.
All right. Go ahead, drink your coffee.
Wait out here, Johnny.
Yeah, sure, Rick.
I won't be but a few minutes.
I'll see you.
Hello, Annabelle.
Hello yourself, Sergeant. Now, what'll it be?
Small lemon lime.
Small lemon lime to a sergeant.
Where does this Wally live, Annabelle?
I don't know, he never said.
We've been checking around. We got no address for him in the cards.
Don't cry to me, Sergeant. That's your job to keep track of these heats, not mine.
You got no idea at all?
No idea at all.
And when you see him again, try to fish it out of him, huh?
Fish it out of him yourself. Here he comes. One lemon lime.
Hi there, Annabelle.
The answer's still no, Wally.
Forget I even mentioned it, Annabelle. Hi there.
How are you?
What'd you do? Get it from that red-headed friend of yours?
Head away, yeah. Got some telephone change, Annabelle?
Yep, sure. He looked familiar, that redhead. I think maybe I know him from someplace. There you are.
Maybe you do. He's been around. Excuse me, I gotta make a call.
Who's stopping you? See what I mean about the redhead?
Yeah, I see.
You gonna pick Wally up? A few days in jail might do him some good. Maybe it'd help his color.
Maybe it would. How much for the lemon lime, Annabelle?
Still a nickel. No inflation around here.
There you are.
Thank you. Call again.
Let me know what you hear, Annabelle.
I'm all ears.
Okay, I'll see you now.
Hurry back, mister.
Johnny?
Hey, Rick. Wasn't that Wally that went in the store?
Yeah.
Did he make you?
No, I don't think so. He remembers me from someplace. Probably thinks I'm a steady hanger around Annabelle's. He went to use the phone.
What are we going to do when he comes out? Collar him?
No, there's nothing we could hold him on yet. We don't even know if this redhead is one of the outfit.
I wouldn't make any bets he wasn't.
I want to see that redhead before we make a move. If he's right, I want to grab him good. What we do it?
He's coming out.
Okay.
Here he comes, this way.
Let him pass. Okay, Johnny, stay with him.
Right.
If he makes a meet with a redhead or if you find out where Wally lives, check with me.
Okay.
All right, on your horse.
So long.
Back to Gangbusters in a moment. The Sunday daytime listening is truly outstanding at the Star's address. Tomorrow, don't miss World Music Festivals, visiting the Edinburgh Festival, where Bruno Voltaire conducts the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra. And remember, too, that Sunday daytime on most of these same CBS radio stations, Leopold Stokowski conducts in the 20th Century Concert Hall, and Michel Piastro directs the Symphonette, all on CBS Radio. And now back to Gangbusters and Circuit Attorney Dowd.
Well, while St. Louis detectives were beginning to make headway in their investigation, the hold-up mob had recruited another member. And late that night in another part of the city, Wally was being escorted up the stairs of an apartment house by his connection, Red.
Like I said, Wally, you might not like the guy, but you gotta grant him a brain.
Just don't want anybody telling me my business, that's all. I don't go for that kind of garbage.
Okay, don't get excited. You haven't even met him yet. That way.
Just don't want him telling me how to do my job.
Take it easy, will you? Okay, right here.
Should I push the bell?
Nah, never mind. I got the keys. Mac. Come on in, Wally.
Yeah.
Hey, Mac. In here, Red. He's in there, Wally. Say, how you like the setup here, Wally, huh?
That'll do.
Yeah. Mac, meet Wally.
How are you?
Hi.
Just a second.
He's nuts about solitaire.
So I see.
I tried a lot of things. I can't find a better way to pass the time.
Have you tried knitting?
Wally.
Yeah, I tried knitting. Nothing there. Well, we'll let this go for a while, huh?
That's nice of you.
It don't look like I could win it anyway, not with that deal. Sit down, Wally.
Yeah. Thanks.
Right here.
Yeah. Fred says you're okay, Wally. Says you're a good wheelman.
The best, Mac.
Okay. Now, this is going to be a nice little score. Not the biggest in the world, but tidy.
That's the way I like 'em, tidy. When?
Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. Depends on the weather.
What's the weather got to do with it?
This is a congested district. If it's raining or snowing, traffic will be heavy and slow, plus there'll be a lot of extra taxicabs in the area.
It's a good angle.
The gate will be rough enough without any handicaps, so let's wait for good weather.
It's okay with me.
You see, Wally, all the angles.
Now, the Mark is the Four Brothers Jewelry Company. That's on the 3rd floor of the tower building.
It's a rough deal getting out of that neighborhood.
Can you do it?
I can do it.
It's my idea we should have a small, fast car. A big one might be a little trouble to handle in traffic. But I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, you leave it to me.
A small car would be better, don't you think, Wally?
Small car it'll be.
Now, here's the layout. Forget about the elevator. We'll go up the stairs. The office is around here, in back, like this.
Yeah.
There's this entrance here. The door's made of glass, so we got to work fast. We got to get in, get it, and get out. We got no time to play.
Who wants to play?
There's a counter here, which stretches from one side practically to the other. It's a display case. None of the good stuff is in there. In back of the counter is a vault. That's what we want to get in.
How much you figure?
Maybe 5,000, 6,000 in cash, maybe 50,000 in ice.
It's not bad.
All right for me.
Off to the side here, there's a little office. Now, that's where the owner has his desk. And besides the owner, we'll find another guy there, a salesman. Neither one of them look like the hero type. We won't have any trouble.
You got this mark pretty well cased.
I should have. I've been there twice. I've been trying to make up my mind whether to buy a watch they got.
It's a great setup, Wally.
They'll recognize me when I come in. I'll tell them I want the watch. They're relaxed. We go to work.
How about the bug? All those jewelry houses got alarms.
That won't be no problem. The only one I could spot was in the boss's little office. Now, he'll be in front writing up the sale on the watch, and if there are any more, we'll just have to be quick enough to keep them away from them.
I'm for being quick.
Back to Gangbusters in a moment.
Now, Red.
Yeah?
You're going to take the boss. Your job is to watch him, keep him quiet, keep him away from the bugs.
Okay.
Now, Wally, you do the same thing with the salesman, and I'll clean the void.
Wait a minute.
What's the matter?
You're going a little fast for me. You said I was to handle salesman.
That's right.
I was under the impression I was a wheelman in this deal. That's a big enough job. I don't belong on the inside at all.
It's not necessary to stay with the car. It can sit.
Yeah, well, it can sit without me. I don't do two men's work.
Wally.
Not without two men's cuts. I don't do two men's work without two men's cuts.
Will you listen to me?
I knew there was something screwy about this deal. No wonder your other two left you like that.
Wally, you gotta grant me it takes 3 on the inside.
Okay, I'll grant you, but I'm a wheelman.
You've done inside work?
Sure, I've done inside work, but not while I was the wheelman. I won't have any part of it.
Now listen to me, will you? You came in, and you're in.
Yeah. We'll see if I'm in.
Now, Wally, be reasonable.
Who's being unreasonable?
Now, look, I don't get tough often, but I'm going to get tough now. You're in, Wally. You made a deal and you're in. Well, you're not going to be feeling so good. Wally, cooperate, huh? It ain't going to be so tough.
Well, okay. If I wasn't on such a spot for dough, I'd tell you all what to do.
Good, Wally. I knew you'd come through first. You see, Mac?
Is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
If this is going to be tomorrow, I better start scouting around for a car for the get.
Yeah, a small car, Wally.
A small car.
Red will get in touch with you. He'll let you know whether it's tomorrow and what time.
Yeah, you be at Annabelle's at 11. I'll phone there.
Okay, Annabelle's at 11. I'll be there.
Now, we got a good deal, boys. An awful good deal. Now, let's see if I can win one of these games for myself.
Robbery squad, Sergeant Rickard.
Hello, Rick. Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny.
Wally must have lifted himself a Chevy coach. I saw him on the corner of Grand and Locust.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, looks for sure like he's in a deal now.
Yeah? Where'd he park this car?
In a public garage on Market Street. On Market Street near the civil courts.
Okay, Johnny, stick around there. I'll be right out.
You think I ought to have one of the boys stay behind Wally?
No, that won't be necessary. He's going to use that car if they pull anything. That's all we have to watch, the car. I'll be right there.
What? Yeah, that...
Hi, Annabelle.
Oh, Wally.
How's tricks, Annabelle?
I got no tricks. What do you want? 200 again? The answer's still no.
Nah, I don't want your 200. Just fix me a chocolate mallet.
Chocolate mallet with vanilla, chocolate mallet with chocolate.
With vanilla.
Chocolate mallet with vanilla. How come yesterday you wanted 200, today you don't? Beginning to get insulted.
My connections came through, Annabelle.
You would take my advice, which you won't, you wouldn't go looking for trouble.
I'm not looking for trouble. Who needs trouble?
Oh, every time I got a...
I'll get it, Annabelle.
Why should you get it? Is it your store?
I'm expecting a call. I'll answer.
Go on, then. Answer before they hang up.
Yeah.
And don't give my phone number to any more Toms and Dicks. What do you think this is?
Hello?
Wally?
Yeah, this is Wally.
Red. Mac says we do it today at 3 o'clock.
Okay, I'm ready.
You got the car okay?
Yeah, Chevy, just a ticket. I got it parked in the garage on Market Street. I can pick you two up about 2:30.
So Mac says no. Mac says for you to drive downtown yourself, park the car in Del Mar near the building. We'll see you there.
Okay.
It will take care of the hardware. Just bring the car and yourself.
I got you.
So long.
Much obliged, Annabelle.
Much obliged for what?
For use of the facilities.
Anytime. Ask me for anything except money. One chocolate malted with vanilla.
Happy days, Annabelle.
Happy days yourself.
Cut over to Washington, Rick. Maybe we can pick him up there.
Well, I'm afraid it's no use, Johnny. We lost him.
Lousy traffic. Same thing last night. It's a cinch Red took him to meet the mob. We got fouled up in traffic.
That's okay. We know where to put our hands on him now. Wally, at least. He can lead us to the others.
They're liable to start shooting again. That's what I'm worried about.
Well, from the way he was headed, I guess the job is someplace downtown.
Maybe he was just headed to pick up the others.
Maybe, but these guys are pretty slick, Johnny. I don't think they'd all ride together in a hot car. I think the rest will meet him. I'll pull in the phone. We'll get a few more squads on the job and cruise around downtown. Maybe we can spot that Chevy.
All right, step lively, boys. We go in, we get in, we get out. Waste no time. You said, Red?
I'm set.
Wally?
I'm set.
Okay, each of you handle your man. I'll clean the ball. Keep your eyes open. This is the place, boys.
Looks nice.
Yeah. Hello there. Well, how are you today? Fine. I think I'll take that watch I was looking at. Oh, yes. Well, it's a fine watch. I brought my friends over to see it. All right. Here we are. Solid gold case, 21 jewel Swiss movement. A beauty and a bargain. How do you like it?
Yeah, it's swell.
I kind of like one myself.
I can show you something similar.
Some other time.
I tell you what I'd like to do. I'd like to put a deposit on it and pick it up next Monday. I'm kind of short. How much of a deposit did you have in mind? Oh, say $25? Well, I think that'd be all right. Let me check with the boss. Mr. Burgess.
Some watch, all right.
Yes? Front, please, Mr. Burgess.
All right.
Watch is guaranteed, isn't it? Absolutely guaranteed. If anything goes wrong with it, just bring it in. But you must remember, a fine watch is a delicate piece of machinery. Yeah, I know. Yes. May I help you? Miss Burgess, this gentleman would like to leave a $25 deposit on the watch and pick it up on Monday. How do you do? Hello.
Hi, nice place you got here.
Thanks. Well, I think that'll be perfectly all right. All we have to do is...
Okay. Do as you're told and you won't get hurt.
Well, please, let's stand still. All right?
Lock the door.
Yeah, I got you.
Go on around, boys. Keep them covered.
Yeah, come on. Now, just don't try to be heroes and you won't get hurt. All we want... Hey, you.
Me?
You, move away from there.
Yes, all right.
Hey, boss, come here and have a look. What's the trouble? We gotta move. There's a bug right under the counter. This guy was standing not 6 inches from it.
You? Oh, no. Not me.
Go on, you move over there.
All right. I'll be. You. Did you hit the alarm button?
Oh, I know. I didn't touch it.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. Sure had his chance.
Now, tell me the truth. If any cops come storming in here, I'm going to kill you, I swear. Did you hit that bug?
No, I didn't.
Okay, you're smart. All right, boys, get them tied up. By the time you finish, I'll have the vault clean.
We covered a lot of blocks, Rick. Don't look good to me.
Well, we take one more turn around it. Wait a minute.
What?
There's a Chevy parked up there.
Where?
Next to the alley.
That's the baby.
Nobody with it, huh?
It must be inside someplace.
Hold it.
Central District, Congress 4, 5, and 6. In the jewelry office, 3rd floor, Tower Building. The hold-up alarm is ringing.
That's it. Let's go.
At the jewelry office, 3rd floor, Tower Building.
That's in the middle of the block. Let's get them.
How you doing, boys?
They'll be tied in a minute. I don't know what you fellas expect to get.
Shut up. Make it good and tight.
Yeah. Hey, look, there's cops coming in the hall.
Why, you hit that bug, didn't you? Please, get up.
Here they come.
Get up.
Go on, get up. All right.
Open up there.
Yell to him. You hit the alarm by mistake.
The police officers, open up.
Tell him what customers. Tell him it was a mistake.
Take it in.
Hey, they're breaking in. Watch it.
The lock. Get the lock, Sergeant.
Get your hands up, coppers, or I'll kill this guy.
No, don't.
Drop those guns, police officers.
Get him, Sergeant.
Let go of me. Give me that gun. Let me go.
All right, get your hands up.
Okay, don't shoot.
Get those hands up.
All right, don't shoot.
Get him up.
You, turn that man loose.
I'll kill him.
No.
Let him go.
All right, take it easy.
You all right, mister?
Yes. Yes, I think so. Jack is tied up over there.
Go look after him.
Yes, I'd better. It's all right, Jack. It's all right.
Are any of you bums hurt?
They all look okay to me, Rick.
Now sit down there, all of you.
He said sit down.
What a mess. Don't cry. Won't do you any good, Wally.
Sure, plenty of truth in that. Well, now we're going to take a little inventory. Let's see what we got here.
They're not such a tough-looking bunch, are they, Rick?
No, not now, they're not. Take their guns away, and they're just a bunch of crumbs. Just plain crumbs.
That, gangbusters, listeners, was how this gang of hold-up artists and killers was captured in the act of committing a robbery after a terrific struggle and gun battle. All were tried in the circuit court at St. Louis, Missouri, and convicted. They are now in the Missouri State Penitentiary at Jefferson City in execution of their sentences.
Thank you, Circuit Attorney Edward L. Dowd of St. Louis, Missouri. Now, Gangbusters Nationwide Clues, broadcast every week as a public service to assist American police in their war against the underworld. Attention all citizens. Be on the lookout for Clarence Dye, wanted by the FBI for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution for armed robbery. Listen carefully to his official description.
Clarence Dye, alias Jock. Age 43. 5 feet 10 inches, 140 pounds, medium build, brown hair, blue eyes, fair complexion. May seek work as a welder or cook.
This man has scars over his left eyebrow, a blue scar over his right eyebrow, and a tattoo of initials CD on his right forearm.
Caution, Dye is probably armed and should be considered extremely dangerous. He reportedly has stated that he will not be taken into custody alive and will attempt to kill any officer arresting him. Attention all citizens, maintain vigilance for Edwin Sanford Garrison, wanted by the FBI for unlawful flight to avoid confinement for the crimes of burglary and robbery. If you have any information concerning these fugitives, notify your local police, the nearest office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or gangbusters at once. Tonight's Gangbusters case was dramatized by Stanley Niss and directed by Leonard L. Bass, with Mason Adams, Amzie Strickland, and Eric Dressler in leading roles. The entire production was supervised for CBS Radio by John Ives, Gaylord Avery speaking. Tomorrow night, Eve Arden raps for attention, and the merriment's on again at dear old Madison High. Yes, she's back. Eve Arden as our Miss Brooks. Funnier than ever before, with the help of Bashful Boynton, her biology teaching heartthrob, Mrs. Davis, Eve's pixelated landlady, Osgood Conklin, the terrible-tempered principal, and the rest of the riotous gang. Remember, class convenes with our Miss Brooks tomorrow night on most of these same CBS radio stations. Be sure to beat the school bell to your seats. You hear America's favorite shows on the CBS Radio Network.
HOJO Radio, where the classics come alive.
And now, Gangbusters! Gangbusters, presented in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States. The only national program that brings you authentic police case histories. Gangbusters presents the case of the date with death, when murder linked an old coat, a woman in the rain, and angry police officers out to avenge a slain comrade.
Gangbusters has asked the Honorable M. Joseph Wallace, Chief Inspector, Baltimore City Police Department, to narrate by proxy tonight's case. Chief Inspector Wallace.
Thank you, and good evening, Gangbusters listeners. Suppose we begin tonight's case on a Sunday afternoon in late November 1947. A huge crowd had gathered in the Baltimore Municipal Stadium to watch the Baltimore Colts in a professional football game. The weather had been threatening all afternoon, and during the third quarter, the skies opened up. Many of the fans scurried out of the rain for cover beneath the stands. One of these was an attractive young woman who ran down a ramp toward the first shelter where a man was standing.
Is there room in there?
Room enough.
Oh, thanks. Oh, football.
The greatest game in the world.
Maybe on television. Look at my hair.
Very nice.
Nice and wet. 50,000 idiots. 50,000 idiots watching a few men dribble a ball up and down out there in the pouring rain.
How about a cigarette?
Yes. Thanks.
Light?
Thanks.
Yes. Very nice.
What?
Your hair.
Oh. You can see it in pin curls.
I'd love to.
Well, thanks for the cigarette.
So you're not going back into the pouring rain, are you?
Oh, well, I've got a date out there.
He's more interested in football than in you.
Looks that way.
Not very smart, is he?
He just likes football.
What do you say you and me find some place to have a drink?
Oh, well, I couldn't run out on him.
You won't even miss him.
How do you know I won't miss him?
Well, that's another story.
Do you know of some place nearby where we can get a drink?
Sure.
I suppose we should have been introduced properly.
I'll introduce us. My name is Wood, Roy Wood.
Very pleased to meet you, Mr. Wood.
Roy.
I'm very pleased to meet you, Roy. I'm Helen.
Just Helen? That's nice.
Helen Denny.
Well, what are we standing here for? Shall we go?
Okay, why not? Oh, football.
You see, I told you I'd find a place where we could have a drink.
Well, here's to the Baltimore Colts. May they be victorious, wet or dry.
Say, what made you run out of the rain and right into me?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe that's the way it was meant.
Yeah, it was meant, Helen. You and me. We were meant.
Looks that way, doesn't it?
It is that way. You know it.
Roy, how crazy can we get? Known each other 20 minutes.
I couldn't be the liquor. We haven't even finished our first drink yet.
What is it? You know, this is funny. I'm 28 years old, and I feel like a schoolgirl. Like a kid in saddle shoes.
You want to hear how I feel?
I hope I know.
You do, baby.
Tell me all about yourself. Where do you live? What do you do? Everything.
Oh, I live out on 33rd.
You do? Mm-hmm. I live out that way myself, on Pratt near Broadway.
We're practically neighbors. It's made to order.
What do you do? For a living, I mean.
Oh, odd jobs.
What do you mean, odd jobs?
Oh, just that. I don't believe in tying myself down from 9 to 5 every day. When I need money, I work for it.
Oh.
You look a little bit disappointed.
Well, I just took it for granted that everybody had a job.
Well, let's just say that I'm more in the professional line. If there's anything I need, I just get it.
Nice to be able to get anything you need.
Is there anything you need, honey?
Nothing I can think of right now.
Well, don't let it worry you, Helen. I get along.
I'm sure you do. I think it stopped raining now.
Then we'll celebrate. We'll have another drink, huh?
All right, Roy. Let's have another drink.
Waiter. Waiter, hey, waiter.
Well, Gangbusters listeners, during the next few weeks that Roy Wood and Helen Denny became better acquainted, he was the subject of considerable thought in another part of Baltimore. But the man thinking about Roy Wood was not so fortunate as Helen Denny. He knew neither Wood's name nor his whereabouts. He was Detective Lieutenant George G. Bryan of the Baltimore Police Department. And as he sat at his desk one afternoon, the door to his office opened.
Hello, Lieutenant.
Oh, Sergeant Mayer, come in here. I want to talk to you.
I thought you swore you'd take a Sunday or two off.
Well, not this Sunday, Sergeant. Sit down.
Thanks.
How was Cleveland?
We got a conviction.
Yeah, I read about it. Well, are you ready to go to work?
Have you got trouble?
Yeah.
Some stick-ups out of North Baltimore. Cab drivers. 7 of them so far. Between 9 o'clock at night and 2, 3 in the morning, this boy hops in a cab, asks to be taken someplace, puts a gun on the driver.
Only in North Baltimore?
So far, only in North Baltimore.
Huh. Any information on him, Lieutenant?
Only the description given by the victims. 25 to 30, 5'8" or 9, 150 to 60 pounds, good-looking, dresses well.
I see. Want me to get on it?
Yep. Have a look at the report, Sergeant. And, the uniform men out there are pretty much on the watch for this boy. They're taking a good look at every taxicab in the street at night. Talk to the uniform commander out in Northeast tonight. Maybe you can be of some help to each other.
Taxi! Hey, taxi! Hop in, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, what a night.
Yeah, looks like we're in for a big snow tonight. Thank heavens I'm through in another hour. Why, I hate that drive in that snow. Old man Winter should drop dead. Where to?
Alameda and 33rd.
Right? Yeah, every winter I say to myself, Ernie, they got taxi cabs in Florida. Go to Miami, get yourself a job for the winter. Will you ever do it? Look at me. I got flat feet. Hey, did you ever hear of anybody getting flat feet pushing a hack?
Shut up.
What?
Look, mister, I don't want any more talk out of you. All I want is your dough. Now, keep your eye on the street, but remember, this is a gun sticking in your back.
Well, take it easy now.
You take it easy if you ever want to get to Miami. Where's your dough?
Right here in this pocket.
Keep your hands on the wheel. I'll reach for it.
Yeah, that's the pocket.
That's all you got?
Well, look, I had a bad night. It ain't my fault I had a bad night. Want me to pull over so you can get out now?
Alameda and 33rd.
Yeah, I'll meet her on 33rd. I hate to remark about it now, buddy, but in my rear view mirror it comes up a squad car. You know, cops.
Just keep on driving.
Yeah. They're still there.
I see them.
There's a red light down there. You want me to stop for the red light or go on through?
Stop for it.
Yeah. Right alongside. They're pulling right alongside.
Don't give them any high sign.
I won't. Not me. Uh-oh, one of them's getting out to have a look. Here he comes.
Keep your mouth shut.
Okay.
Is everything all right, driver?
Yeah, officer,
You.
Me?
Step out of there. Let me have a look at you.
It's snowing, officer.
Step out here.
Oh, all right. You can have a look at this.
Hey!
Halt! Stop that man! Stop him!
I got a gun!
Come on now, let's go. Come on. I'm right with you.
Yes? Who is it?
It's me, honey. Roy, let me in.
Roy. It's after 2 in the morning.
Please, let me in, please.
All right.
Thanks, Helen. Thanks a lot.
What's the matter with you, Roy?
Never mind, I'll be all right.
Where's your coat? You should have more sense than to go out on a night like this without your coat.
I should have had more sense than to go out, period.
What's the matter with you, Roy?
Don't you have any idea?
When you wake me up at 2 o'clock in the morning and practically break into my room, I don't care for riddles. I'm entitled to an explanation.
Helen, you love me?
What's that got to do with it?
It's got plenty to do with it.
All I want is a reasonable explanation.
All right. You hear those sirens? That's your explanation.
You're in trouble.
You bet I'm in trouble.
I'm sure you can straighten it out.
Not this kind of trouble you can't straighten out.
Were you in a fight?
Sort of fight, yeah. Only worse.
Well, what happened?
They were chasing me. It's a break. You live right in the neighborhood. They're probably looking for me on the street right downstairs.
Not the police.
Now, who else do you think?
Oh, Roy.
It's not that much of a shock, Helen. You know it.
Yes, Roy, I know it.
Look, you let me stay a while, won't you, baby? Let me stay here.
Yes. As long as you want.
Good girl. Now, look, there's something you have to do for me.
What?
My overcoat. I couldn't run with it. I threw it in the alley next to the tavern around the corner. I want you to get dressed and go get it for me.
But, Roy...
Oh, please, honey, if they find the coat, they can find me. They have ways. Please, baby, if you love me.
All right. I'll get dressed.
Lieutenant Bryan.
Hello, Lieutenant. Sergeant Mayer.
Patrolman Benedict was dead on arrival at the hospital.
Yeah, we heard, Lieutenant.
Any sign of this man out there, Sergeant?
No, he probably ducked in someplace. But we found an overcoat in an alley off Pratt Street. It might be his. He might have shed it to make better time running.
Well, that may be a break, Sergeant. Bring the coat in here right away.
Well, Gangbusters listeners, Baltimore detectives finally had their first tangible lead toward the identity of the hold-up man, Roy Wood. But unfortunately, it didn't come until the hold-up man became the murderer of a policeman. Detectives still had a long way to travel in the case, but they were able to take shortcuts because of a news vendor and a curt telegram.
And now back to Gangbusters. And now we hear again from tonight's narrator, Chief Inspector M. Joseph Wallace of Baltimore.
Thank you. As you know, Roy Wood, a hold-up man, shot and killed a Baltimore policeman who sought to question him. The killer escaped on foot, although pursued by the policeman's partner. It was about an hour later when the girl, Helen, came in the front door of her house and walked down the hall toward her room where the killer, Roy Wood, was waiting.
Baby, I thought you'd never get back. I thought you... The coat. Where's the coat?
I looked in the alley, Roy. It wasn't there.
I guess they got it. Guess the cops picked it up.
Roy.
Huh?
You killed that policeman, didn't you?
Listen, baby.
Did you or didn't you?
Yeah, it was me.
The whole neighborhood is up. There are police cars all over.
Listen, honey, you won't say anything to anybody about this, will you?
How could you do it, Roy?
I did it, that's all. You won't say anything, will you?
Why didn't you leave me alone? Why'd you have to bring me all this?
Baby, I love you. You know what'll happen if they get me, you know, don't you?
You weren't fair to me, Roy. You should have let me know what I was getting into.
I know I should have, but I didn't. Honey, you won't say anything, will you?
No, Roy. I won't say anything.
Thanks, Helen. Thanks a lot.
What are you going to do, Roy?
I don't know. I gotta think.
They got the coat. You said they might be able to find you through the coat.
Yeah. I'll have to get out of town for a little while. I better go back to my room now and get some things.
But, Roy, the streets are full of policemen. If they see somebody without an overcoat...
Yeah, that's right. Can I stay here a little while longer?
All right. But you mustn't go back to your room, Roy. You mustn't go back at all.
Hey, Johnny, Lieutenant in there?
Yeah, he's in there, Sergeant.
Thanks. Hello, Lieutenant.
Come in, Sergeant.
Well, I guess we can put this overcoat in cold storage.
No luck, huh?
I traced it from the manufacturer to the retailer, the United on Fayette Street. They keep records of names and addresses of customers only when there's alterations. No alterations on this coat.
Well, how about their memory? Doesn't anybody there have a good memory?
Yeah, they remember having coats of this style in stock. That's about all. Nobody remembers selling this one.
Any cleaner's marks in it?
Nah, the coat's never been cleaned. Well, we at least know the guy is a perfect 40.
Sergeant.
Yeah?
It's pretty much of a sure thing this guy lives or did live in North Baltimore.
From the way he operated, yeah.
You want to waste a little time?
How?
Well, if he does live in North Baltimore someplace, there's somebody that's seen him and knows him. I think we ought to take this coat and visit every store and bar between Monroe and Hanover, north of Franklin. The coat's not the most ordinary ever made. Maybe somebody will recognize it and know the guy.
Maybe.
Don't you think it's worth it?
Sure, Lieutenant. I think it's worth it. Anything's worth it.
Sun, News Pope, all eight. What do you read? Sun, News Pope. Paper, buddy?
No, not just now. I'm a police officer.
Yeah. Sun, News Pope. What do you read? What do you read? Paper up.
Look, the shopkeepers around here tell me you know most everybody in the neighborhood.
They can read, I know. Sun, News Pope, all eight.
You know the owner of this coat?
That coat there?
Yeah.
I don't look at people's coats. Hey, that could be Roy's.
Roy? Roy who?
How should I know Roy who? He buys the paper from me once in a while. They call him Roy.
Who calls him Roy?
The guys. He hangs down that bar down the street, Casey's.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
For what? What do you read? Paper, all eight, Sun, Pope. What do you read?
Hey, bartender.
Yeah? What'll it be?
Are you Casey?
I am.
I'm from the police department.
Oh, well. Have a drink on the house.
You got a customer, Roy?
I got lots of customers. Some of them's named Roy.
The Roy that belongs to this coat.
Sweet suffering chipmunks. What's happened to Roy?
Nothing yet.
Well, he ain't been in here in a week.
What's Roy's other name?
Roy Wood, Woods, something like that. What's the matter with him?
Is he about 25 to 30 years old? 5 foot 8 or 9, weighs about 160?
Yeah, that's him.
Where does he live?
I don't know exactly. Over on 33rd someplace, but he ain't been in here in a week. Sweet suffering chipmunks, what's he got himself into?
Who knows? We just want to have a little talk with him. Thanks, Casey. Thanks a lot.
Deposit 45 cents, please.
Yeah. Here you are.
There's your party.
Helen?
Yes, Roy. How are you?
Miserable, baby.
Me too.
Honey, listen. Nobody's been around to see you? You know who I mean?
No, nobody's been around.
Good. I guess everything's okay then. I'm coming back to Baltimore.
I don't know, Roy. It's too soon.
I've got to come back.
Roy.
I know what I'm doing, baby. I'll be in touch with you.
All right, Roy. Goodbye.
Bye, honey.
Why, you gentlemen are certainly mistaken. Roy Wood is a fine young man. I wouldn't have rented a room to him unless he was a fine young man.
But he hasn't been home in a week.
I told you he's a fine young man.
Mrs. Porter, you're positive this is his coat?
Well, I can't be positive, but he has one like it.
It wasn't in his room.
Well, if he went away, he must have taken the coat with him.
You say that Roy never brought any friends here?
Never.
You never saw any of his friends?
No. I asked him not to have company, and he didn't. He's a very respectable young man.
Well, what about women? Did you ever see him with any women?
No, I never saw him with any women. But those that he did go out with were very nice girls.
How do you know they were very nice girls?
Well, this last one, she sounded like a very nice young lady over the phone.
You spoke to her?
Of course, several times. I took messages for Roy.
What kind of messages?
Well, this girl, this Helen, she called and left a number 2 or 3 times. She sounded like a very nice girl.
What'd you do with the number?
Well, now, what would I do with the telephone number? I scratched it on the telephone book.
May we see the telephone book, Mrs. Porter?
If you insist, this way.
Thank you.
But Roy Wood is a fine young man. A very fine young man.
Here she is, Lieutenant. Lieutenant Bryan, Helen Denny.
Sit down, Miss Denny.
You have no right to drag me down here to the police station and keep me waiting so long. I think I'm entitled to some explanation.
She says she hasn't seen Roy Wood in a week.
That's true.
Exactly how many times did you see Roy Wood altogether?
I don't know. I didn't stop to count.
You heard from him in the last week?
No, I haven't heard from him.
Where is he now?
I told you I don't know. I don't know.
Do you know what we want him for?
No,
We think he killed a policeman.
that's not so.
We wish it weren't. Now, the more you try to cover up for him, the more trouble you're going to get yourself into, young lady.
I'm not trying to cover up because there's nothing to cover up.
All right. I know you've been in touch with Roy Wood.
Please.
I know it. Matter of fact, while the sergeant was bringing you down here, a Western Union messenger boy knocked on your door. You didn't know that we have a couple of men watching your house day and night, did you?
I don't know anything.
And that Western Union messenger boy, when there wasn't any answer, he slipped a telegram under your door. Would you like to read it? Here. Go on, open it up, Ellen. And you still tell me you haven't been in touch with Roy?
All right. I just don't want to see him hurt. That's all. I don't want to see him hurt.
If you don't want to see him hurt or anybody else, then you'll help us.
How?
He sent you a wire to meet him on the corner of Broadway and Pratt tonight. You will meet him.
Please. Can't you do it some other way? Do you have to get me involved in it?
You said you didn't want to see him hurt. This is the easiest way we can take him. For him, for us, and for you.
But All right. What do you want me to do?
You go home now and wait until 10 minutes after 8. Then you'll walk out the front door. You'll walk down Pratt Street to Broadway. and you'll stand on the corner in front of the drugstore.
Please, Lieutenant,
You'll stand on the corner in front of the drugstore. We don't know whether he'll drive or take a cab or walk, but we do know for sure he's got a gun on him. We'll be all around there. When Roy Wood shows up, you'll drop your purse.
Drop my purse?
That's the sign to us that it is Roy Wood. I'm warning you, Helen. There'll be our men all around. You don't want to see Roy hurt. He won't get hurt if you carry off your part as you're supposed to.
And now back to Gangbusters.
Well, Gangbusters listeners, at precisely 8:15 that night, the girl Helen waited in front of the drugstore on the busy corner of Broadway and Pratt. The eyes of several teams of detectives were fastened on the approaches to the intersection, waiting for Roy Wood to appear. As the minutes passed, she stood firm, until finally she saw the fugitive crossing the street.
Hello, honey. How are you?
Hello, Roy.
Well, what's the matter? Are you glad to see me?
Yes, I am glad.
Look, I've got a car parked on the block. Let's go, huh?
Roy, listen to me.
Well, come on. We can't stand here all night.
Roy, I don't want to see you hurt.
I won't. Here, I'll pick up your purse.
No, that's all right. I think it's best, Roy. I really do.
You think what's best?
All right, Wood, don't make a move.
Hey, what?
I
You
got
got-
him. For a police officer.
Let me go, will you?
Hold still there. Uh-huh. Is this the gun you used to kill him?
You turned me in, didn't you, you little
No,
rotten...
Roy. Honest, I didn't. I just didn't want you hurt.
Go on home.
Don't you worry about her, Wood. You just come with us.
That, Gangbusters listeners, was exactly how this killer was taken by detectives of the Baltimore Police Department. He was placed on trial a short time later and convicted of first-degree murder. Roy Wood is now in a death cell at the Maryland State Penitentiary, awaiting hanging.
Thank you, Chief Inspector M. Joseph Wallace, for this insight into how Baltimore police conducted a difficult murder investigation. And congratulations to Captain of Detectives Henry J. Criss and all the officers who participated in the investigation leading to the arrest of this killer. Tonight's case was dramatized by Stanley Niss and directed by William Sweets, with Les Damon and Deli Ellis in leading roles. Roger Foster speaking. Gangbusters is a Phillips H. Lord production.
Get this and get it straight. Crime doesn't pay, which was the motto of our next broadcast from the pen of Raymond Chandler. The first show aired on NBC in June 1947, and then in 1948 the series moved to CBS, where it was renamed. For 114 episodes, the CBS version ran and ended in September 1950. It was a more hard-boiled program than many of the other private detective shows at the time, containing few quips or quaint characters. We're proud to present to you The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, right here on HOJO Radio.
Somewhere in the cold, persistent rain that made the city itself seem a thing of evil, a girl had disappeared, and it was my job to find her. But before I did, I found death and a devil.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime fiction, comes his most famous character as CBS presents The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. And now, with Gerald Moore, starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's exciting story, The Black Halo.
For 3 days, an ugly storm had lashed at the west coast from northern Oregon to the tip of Lower California. And although it was only noon when I drove up to the sprawling red brick house just south of Santa Barbara to meet a new client of mine, the black that was in the sky and the driving rain that was everywhere left the day bleak and wet and cold. Left it the kind of day that made you feel that logs blazing in a fireplace and a warm, dry robe were the only things that could matter to anyone. But when I got inside the house, Felix Drum, 350 uncomfortable pounds of executive in a wheelchair, who made his living importing perfumes, was very worried. And not about the weather outside.
Marlowe, Julia Perry is gone. I want you to find her and bring her back. And the sooner you do that, the better.
And the more I know, Mr. Drum, the easier it'll be. Exactly who is Julia Perry?
My assistant. Very capable girl, who in the past 6 months has practically taken over my entire business. She handles most of the work from her cottage here on the grounds where she lives.
Mm-hmm.
She also has some little cubbyhole in Los Angeles where she keeps her files and some sample stock.
Do you have the address of that cubbyhole?
If I knew the answer to everything, I wouldn't have hired you. And anyway, it isn't important. Hand me that little bottle.
This one?
Yes.
No, here.
Thank you.
When did you last see Julia, Mr. Drum?
3 days ago. Oh, it was 3 days ago, when she left on one of her regular weekly trips down to Los Angeles to bid on perfumes. Usually she stayed away overnight, but the Beechwood Plaza Hotel most of the time, and she was back here by noon the next day.
I suppose you've already checked the Beechwood Plaza, huh?
Yes, of course. My man Ruby, the one who showed you in, has called the place a dozen times. But they only know that Julia registered there 3 days ago and hasn't been seen since.
Well, what about the girl herself, Mr. Drum? I mean her background, friends, family, that sort of thing.
As far as I know, Marlowe, Julia has no friends and no family either. She's just a sweet but smart little girl from someplace in Kansas.
Mm-hmm. No beaux, not even nice ones, huh?
I don't think she had the time. You see, when Julia first came to work for me, she wanted to get ahead, and I gave her the chance. She made good.
Mm-hmm.
Today, she's as much my right arm as Ruby is my leg.
Mr. Drum, did you notice anything unusual about Julia's behavior lately?
Yes, and that's the reason I'm worried. About 2 weeks ago, I saw changes in the girl, Marlowe. She seemed less spry, more preoccupied.
Oh?
Yes. I figured it was overwork myself, since the end of the year always means detailed annual reports, so I made no comment at the time.
I see. Tell me, Mr. Drum, what does she look like?
Well, I have no pictures, but she's a blonde of medium height and was wearing a plaid raincoat and little circle of a hat when she left.
Uh-huh.
Altogether, she's sweet and simple, if that's what you mean.
Yeah. Do you mind if I stop into the cottage on my way out?
Marlowe, you turn the place inside out if it'll help any. Only since I'm certain that Julia's in some kind of bad trouble, you be quick and find her.
Julia Perry's cottage was strictly the 50-50 arrangement that Drum had mentioned, with one room office and the other living quarters. In the office, I found everything in its proper place, so I moved to the other room. The moment I stepped over the threshold, the white fluff that trimmed the quilted bedspread and the splash of color in the drapes said that Julia Perry had to be something soft and warm. The half a dozen quietly tailored suits that were lined up in the closet like a squad of soldiers facing right told me that she was also simple and neat. I ran through the pockets of her clothes and all the drawers and closets in the room, trying to find something that would give me a lead that I was sure I had to have. After 20 minutes, I'd found only a leather cigarette case, a package of peppermint lifesavers, and a maroon and gold monogram book of matches, the cover of which was half torn off so that I could only be certain that the middle initial was a V and that an E or an F were on either end. But since the name and address of an L.A. novelty company was on the inside, I bought the matches as a starting point, dropped them into my pocket, and headed for the door. When I opened it, I was surprised to find Ruby, Drum's right-hand man, purple scar and all, standing in the rain, and staring at me like my ears were spinning.
You seem to be a very thorough man, Mr. Private Detective.
And you seem to be a very nosy one. What do you want?
To help Julia, nothing else. Here's a postcard that came for her this morning. It was mailed in L.A. yesterday.
Yeah? Dear Julia, tried to reach you at Santa Barbara 1181, both yesterday and today, but got no answer. I'm leaving. I'm leaving town tomorrow. As one little girl who fled life in Haven, Kansas, to another, I would have enjoyed seeing you again. For a bit before I moved on to who knows where. And Santa Barbara 1181, that the number here?
Yeah. It's Julia's private business phone. Well, what do you think? The postcard any help?
Possibly. Tell me, Ruby, why didn't you show this to Mr. Drum?
I forgot about it until just now.
You're a liar.
Well, it's on account of the postcard was delivered here to the cottage.
Which is no man's land for you?
Yeah, sort of. Mr. Drum doesn't like people who work for him mixing socially with each other.
Or maybe a sweet kid like Julia hasn't got any use for the passes you've been making at her, huh?
Hold it. I like Julia, and even if she don't go for me, anything I can do to help her, I still do, understand?
Yeah, I understand. I'm not so sure I believe. Goodbye, Ruby. It was pushing 5 o'clock and still raining by the time I got back to L.A. and over to the Novelty Company. Once there, I presented the torn book of matches that I had found at Julia's cottage to a bald man with horizontal question marks for eyebrows, and who, at the crinkle of a $5 bill, tore himself away from his racing form long enough to check the files for a set of maroon and gold initials that had a V in the middle. And it was 6 o'clock before I had the answer, which was EVE. And they weren't initials, but the front name of Mrs. Eve Bentley, who lived in a villa at the swank Sunset Terrace Apartments. And according to the gentleman who said he knew his oats, was a very classy filly. An hour later, I was at Mrs. Bentley's front door, and while I made with the chimes and waited, I wondered just how much a guy who loves the ponies could know about women. But when the door opened, I had my answer.
Yes? What is it?
Mrs. Eve Bentley wasn't beautiful, but she was everything else, including a shimmering yard of gold hair piled high on her head and held in place by a knot of pearls that no Boy Scout ever tied. Her face was wide blue eyes and open red lips on a backdrop of soft, fair skin. She wore a black silk jersey dress that must have been sprayed on. She smiled when I said my name was Philip Marlowe and that I wanted to talk.
Talk about what, Mr. Marlowe?
Julia Perry, ever hear of her?
No, I haven't.
So I'll try again. What do you know about Ann somebody from Haven, Kansas?
Absolutely nothing.
This torn book of matches says otherwise. I found them in Julia Perry's cottage. Julia Perry's missing. I'm a private detective who was hired to find her, and the matches turned out to be yours. Now, may I come in?
Why, yes.
Thanks. Now, Mrs. Bentley, maybe we ought to start all over.
No, wait just a minute, Mr. Marlowe. I may be able to help you. Did this Julia Perry deal in perfumes?
That's right. Now, how did you know that?
Because I just remembered something. And now I'm sure I can explain why my matches showed up where they did.
Just a minute. You know, whenever I'm talking to a beautiful woman, somebody's always creeping around in the kitchen. Who is it this time?
Oh, really, Mr. Marlowe? There's a storm outside, and there are windows and trees. If you put those three things together, that noise could have been a branch scratching on a glass pane.
Or somebody with squeaky shoes and a lot of curiosity. Somebody like Mr. Bentley, for instance, huh?
Oh, I doubt that, Mr. Marlowe. You see, Mr. Bentley's been dead now for 3 long years.
Oh. Yes. Well, you were saying something about the matches.
Oh, yes. This Julia Perry must somehow or other gotten hold of him through my fiancé, Marvin Whitaker.
How does that figure?
Like 2 and 2. Marvin is in the perfume business. Ditto Julia. Also, I think he mentioned her name once. Said she was very clever for a girl who looked like somebody's kid sister.
That fits all right. Where will I find said fiancé?
At his favorite bar and grill. But won't you have a drink first, Mr. Marlowe?
No, thanks, Eve. There isn't time. Now the bar and grill.
The Blue Boar.
Blue which?
Boar, Mr. Marlowe.
Yeah.
It's a very English spot over on Wilshire, opposite Arthur Murray's studio. But before you dash, do you at least have a match?
Yeah. Whole book of them, honey. Torn cover and all. And I want you to keep them. After all, they brought us together, didn't they? When I got outside, I postponed my run between the raindrops over to Wilshire Boulevard long enough to take a look behind the villa. And there, in a newly planted strip of clover lawn below Mrs. Bentley's kitchen window, I found something which was no surprise. 2 clear prints of a man's shoe. But from there on out, I got nothing more than a lot of rain down the back of my neck. So 10 minutes later, I dripped into my car and headed for the Blue Boar and Eve Bentley's gentleman friend. I located Marvin Whitaker, a handsome, hale fellow well met, in a white turtleneck sweater and riding breeches, behind a hot rum toddy in a corner booth that was pictures of steeplechase mounts against newly antiqued mahogany. And when I told him that I was looking for Julia Perry, he flashed a lot of glistening teeth at me insisted that I join him in a warming glass of spirits and started to talk, gesturing all the time with a riding crop.
Why, yes, old man, I know Julia Perry. In fact, almost did some business with her today.
You mean you were supposed to meet Julia someplace?
That's right. At 1881 Selma Avenue, to be precise. But she called me this morning and postponed the whole transaction indefinitely.
Could you stop projecting long enough to tell me why?
She didn't say. Of course, it's of no bother to me on a day like this. No sane man should be any farther away from a toddy than we are right now. So drink up, old boy. It'll do you a world of good.
Yeah, I bet it will. Look, Mr. Whitaker, one more question. Did Julia ever speak of a girlfriend named Ann? Someone she knew years ago in Kansas?
No, I don't believe she did, Marlowe. Matter of fact, Julia never talked of anything but perfumes. Now drink your drink, fellow, before it's chilled through.
Thanks, but no thanks, old bean. I do have to run, really. It was a 20-minute drive to the address on Selma, and the rain had stopped by the time I got there. The place was one of those once-upon-a-time rooming houses that had been partitioned off into a couple of dozen 2x4 cubby holes. Just big enough for the very small businessman to fill his fountain pen in. When I got to the door and asked the scrub woman, who was a lot of wild red hair around two pop eyes for Julia Perry, I knew I was moving in the right direction, because the lady standing in front of me was anything but calm. And more important, she had just heard a pistol shot from the back of the house.
Yes, that's right. A pistol shot not over 2 minutes ago. I'm sure that Perry girl had something to do with it. Because when I come from inside, I saw her rush out down these steps.
Did she say anything?
I don't know. She was gone out of sight before I could open my mouth. But I know it was her on account of that plaid coat and little hat she wears.
Yeah. Now, which room is hers? Come on.
Well, that one there with the light showing under the door. But it's locked. She won't be able to get in. I just tried.
Well, we'll try again for luck. It's not the best lumber. Believe me.
This is terrible. Nothing like this has ever happened to me before. It's a man.
Yeah. A dead one at that, Granny.
Do you know who it is?
Uh-huh. Well, the mud and clover grass on the bottom of his shoes, I'd tag him as a guy who was looking in a lady's kitchen window about an hour ago. But from that purple scar on his chin, I can do even better than that. The name Granny is Ruby, a guy I thought was still in Santa Barbara.
In just a moment, we will return to the second act of the adventures of Philip Marlowe. But first, given clues, even the newest of Philip Marlowe fans can deduce the characters in CBS's great new early Sunday evening comedy lineup. The washboard leads you to the one and only Spike Jones. The bumblebee? Well, of course, that's for America's most famous non-virtuoso violinist, Jack Benny, who follows Spike Jones on CBS. The two A's, Amos and Andy, who are heard on CBS immediately following Jack Benny. So it's really no mystery at all why millions of Americans now stay tuned to CBS on Sunday nights for these three superb comedy shows in succession. Spike Jones and Amos and Andy over most of these same CBS stations, and Jack Benny over them all. And now, with our star, Gerald Moore, we return to the second act of Philip Marlowe and tonight's story, The Black Halo.
Ruby's body sprawled on the floor, and the girl in the plaid raincoat running away from it meant one thing. Julia Perry's trouble was important, like life, but more like death. A half sneer was congealed on Ruby's face, and his eyes, turned waxy, still held a look of mild surprise. I wasted some breath telling the scrub woman not to touch anything, and then I put in a call to my overweight client in Santa Barbara. He was glad to hear from me, at first.
Marlowe. Well, now, I didn't expect a call from you this soon. You sure work fast, don't you, lad? Have you found her? Have you located Julia?
Not quite. She's about 5 minutes ahead of me. Incidentally, Mr. Drum, she works fast, too.
What do you mean by that?
Let me ask the questions, huh? Number one, what was your leg man Ruby doing in L.A. tonight?
Ruby?
Yeah.
Why, I sent him in to pick up some medicine for me. Why?
Come on, Drum, you can talk straighter than that, and you better. I just found Ruby dead.
Dead? Ruby's dead? What happened to him, Marlowe?
He was shot. So forget the gags and tell me why he was snooping around.
All right. I didn't trust you.
No.
It's my policy to trust nobody until he proves himself. I sent Ruby in to follow you and check on your progress.
That was brilliant. You only made 3 mistakes. First, I don't need to be checked on. Second, you got your man killed. And third, You forced Julia's hand. Because it was Miss Perry herself who pulled the trigger on Ruby.
Julia? Marlowe, I don't believe that.
Which proves nothing, Mr. Drum, but skip it. Tell me, do you know a man named Marvin Whitaker?
Whitaker?
Yeah.
Oh, should I?
Well, he says he's in the perfume business.
Well, I know everybody on the coast who bought more than 2 bottles of perfume at one time in the last 40 years, and I don't recall that name. I think the man must be a liar.
So do I. Thanks for the help. And, Drum, if you've got any more expendable flunkies around, keep them out of my hair. I'll call you when I've got something. I called Homicide next and told Detective Lieutenant Ibarra where to find the body and who was responsible for it being in that dead condition. When the question of why came up, I admitted I was still shooting blanks. I told him about the razzle-dazzle Whitaker had handed me and named the Blue Boar on Wilshire as my next stop. Ibarra said he'd call me there, and when I got to the entrance of the place, I saw Whitaker, draped in a trench coat that involved enough cloth to rig a 4-masted schooner, standing in the anteroom, impatiently smacking his leg with that riding crop. He looked positively dashing. Question was, which way?
Hiya there, Marlowe. Hey, old boy, you look upset. Anything wrong?
I may be upset, Whitaker, but you're the one that's going to spill. First, are you leaving or coming back?
I'm just leaving.
Been here all the time since I talked to you?
That's right, you see. My coat is perfectly dry.
Stopped raining half an hour ago.
Well, you see, if I'd been outside, I would have known that. But why this 3rd degree, Marlowe? What's up?
It's a long story. Maybe we better sit down and talk it all over from the beginning.
Oh, I'm afraid I can't. Not just now. I've got a date.
She'll keep.
Not this one. It's something rather special.
Special, huh? Like Eve Bentley?
Now, look here, old boy. You're prying into my personal affairs.
Whitaker, I'll rip the lid clear off your personal affairs if necessary to get a clean answer out of you. Now, what do you really know about Julia Perry?
I told you once. Are you implying that I'm a liar?
At least that. For instance, who puts out Amir? Come on, Whitaker. It's a well-known fragrance.
Why, I don't recall offhand.
That's strange, because any woman knows Amir's a Dana perfume.
Just what are you trying to prove by all this?
That as a perfume dealer, you stink. And try this for size. When I got to that address you gave me, I found a fresh corpse there with a bullet hole in it.
A murder?
Yeah, and your routine was pat, brother, so before Homicide starts combing out the snags in your story, you better untangle it yourself right now. You lied to me. Now, why'd you do it, Whitaker? Why the double talk?
All right, Marlowe, I'll tell you. I'll tell you this! Oh!
He was as quick as a wounded cat. The riding crop slashed across my face even before I'd realized he'd moved. And by the time the red light stopped dancing in my eyes, Marvin Whitaker was gone. I turned as the head waiter walked up to me. He studied the hot red welt rising on my face for a moment and then murmured discreetly that if my name was Marlowe, I was wanted on the phone. It was Lieutenant Ibarra.
Marlowe, you can stop beating the brush for Julia Perry. We found her.
You did? Where is she, Ibarra?
She's out in the alley here, behind the Beechwood Plaza Hotel, Marlowe. Exactly 8 floors down from the window of her room. She fell through the glass roof above the rear entrance.
Oh.
It's not pretty. Oh. She explained the whole thing, including that Ruby guy's murder in a note we found in her room.
I'll be right over, Ibarra.
Okay, don't hurry.
The old story, Marlowe. When Drum finally got around to trusting her, he practically gave her his business. It was too much temptation.
Mm-hmm.
She'd been stealing from him in a big way for almost a year, her note says.
And she decided to run for it when she knew she couldn't hide the thefts any longer, huh?
That's right. That Ruby caught on some way, and she killed him, but I guess murder was too rich for her blood, so she came back here, thought it over, and then checked out.
Yeah. All she left behind was a little plaid raincoat and a purse over there. Hey, she was wearing a dinky hat, too, Ibarra. Did you find that?
Mm-hmm. Come over here to the window, Phil. See down there on that canopy, that little black circle? That's her hat. I sent Mooney down to get it. Can't leave any loose ends around, you know.
Yeah. Got a light, Lieutenant?
Oh, sure. Here you are.
Thanks.
Hey, what happened to you? That welt on your face, Phil.
Oh, I backed that horsey liar named Whitaker into a corner, and he slapped his way out with a riding crop. And speaking of loose ends, if I ever catch up with that... Ibarra, where did that stuff on the dresser come from?
Well, this out of the pockets of Julia's plaid coat. Why?
But that's impossible unless... Holy smoke. That's why Whitaker lied to me.
Hey, where are you going with that, Phil? Come back here.
I gotta check on something, Ibarra, and keep your notebook handy. If I'm right, this deal is still wide open. All the way from the suicide's room in the Beechwood Plaza out to the widow's villa in the Sunset Terrace, my mind juggled a jumble of facts trying to beat them into a brand new pattern. A pattern that had to include an object Ibarra had found in the pocket of that plaid raincoat. It almost made sense, but I needed just a little more. Well, when I turned into the parking lot at the Sunset Terrace, rain began to fall again. Thin, cold rain. I walked to Eve Bentley's door and pressed the bell. Just as I expected, it was Marvin Whitaker, unsmiling and nervous, who answered the door. I didn't give him a chance to think. I just swung hard. Okay, horseman, that squares us up. Come on, Heavy, roll over. Let's see if you're carrying a gun. Okay, no gun. Now, be a good boy, Whitaker, and you'll make out all right, but one funny wiggle out of you and I'll crack your skull. It's a promise. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you.
All right. Now, where's Eve? Is she here?
Find out for yourself, Marlowe. I'm through.
Fair enough. But just so I'm not talking through my head, I'll take a look in her closet first.
She won't be in there, I guarantee.
No, but her future might be. Now, let's see. It's got to be in here someplace. Oh, yeah. This is probably it. Brown cloth coat, as chic as a pair of hobnailed boots, and still damp. And the label says the BH Company, Haven, Kansas. That does it. I've got it all now, and my chivalry just died. Where is she, Whitaker? Where's Eve?
Right here, Marlowe. Don't try that. I guess you really do have it figured out, haven't you?
Yes, Eve, I have. Sorry it turned out this way, because you had your points as Eve and as Julia.
Don't put it in the past tense, Marlowe. As Eve Bentley, my life is just beginning, and now I've got everything I ever wanted as Julia Perry.
Then you're Julia Perry.
I was, Marvin.
She still is, Whitaker. At least that's what the bailiff will call it in court.
There won't be any court, Marlowe.
Oh, I'm afraid there will, baby. You're twice a killer now, and both for the same reason, remember? First Ruby, because he saw you as Eve. And the girl you pushed out of the hotel window, who was no doubt Anne, your old chum from the hometown. She must have seen you posing as Eve, too.
All right, Marlowe. Anne ran into me by accident and ruined everything. I had no choice. I promised her money and then told her to go to my room at the Beechwood Plaza and wait for me.
Eve, I can't believe this. It can't be true.
Yes, Marvin, it is true. Darling, I didn't want this mess. I'd have left town this morning as I intended if sweet, sly little Anne hadn't seen me. I tried to get rid of you the easy way, Marlowe. When I sent you to Marvin, the Selma Street address he gave you should have led you to the end of Julia Perry.
Is that why you phoned me and told me to lie to Marlowe?
Yes, Marvin. I was going there to write my suicide note and use the stockroom for my disappearing act. But Ruby caught me, and after that I had to work fast. But it's all right now. It all worked out perfectly. They were the only two who knew besides you, Marlowe.
Aren't you forgetting little Marvin here?
Forgetting him? Oh, no, Mr. Marlowe. Marvin's the one person I can count on.
That's what you think. You don't get me mixed up in this.
Marvin.
I bargained for an heiress, not a murderess.
Why, you dirty load. All right, then. I'll use this gun on you, too, because I'm getting out of here and no one's going to stop me.
But you're right between us, Eve. You can't get us both.
He's right, baby. You're not good enough to get us both, and killing just one of us isn't going to solve anything. What do you say? It's been a long night, baby. You just couldn't tell when you were late.
You want any more of this coffee, Marlowe?
No, it's sludge, Lieutenant. I wonder what Julia Perry uses for a heart.
You know, she planned the thing for 6 months when she first set herself up as Eve Bentley. And it probably would have...
Want to check now?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Probably would have worked if everything hadn't closed in on her.
Yeah, her friend Ann from Kansas, Ruby the leg man.
And you with that torn book of matches. Incidentally, that was pretty fast figuring up in the hotel room there, Marlowe.
Oh, not so fast, Ibarra. I knew Eve had those matches because I left them with her. So when you found the same matches in the pocket of Julia's plaid coat, it figured. Julia almost had to be Eve.
And that left Anne to furnish the body for the suicide.
Yeah. You know, I wasn't so sure about that until I found the brown coat with the Haven, Kansas label in Eve's apartment.
Yeah. Well, I'd better wait on back to the office, Phil. Look at that rain come down. Think it'll ever stop?
I don't know. I doubt it.
Oh, by the way, here, it's her hat. Mooney finally got it down off that hotel canopy. Maybe you'd like it for a souvenir.
Yeah.
The millinery people call it a halo hat. Good night, Marlowe.
I sat there a while after Ibarra left, looking at the rain in the street, and the cold coffee in front of me, and Julia's little round halo on the table. And finally I got up and went outside. Dirty water scudded along the gutter and gurgled thickly into the sewer drain at the corner. For a minute I caught a glimpse again of the girl I'd figured Julia Perry to be when I went through her cottage in Santa Barbara. Yeah, that girl was an angel. But when I finally caught up with her, her halo turned out to be black, jet black, inside and out. I dropped the little hat into the gutter and watched it go as far as the drain at the corner. And then I went home.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by Raymond Chandler, stars Gerald Moore and is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Script is by Mel Donnelly, Robert Mitchell, and Gene Levitt. Featured in the cast were Joan Banks, Paul Frees, Peter Leeds, Jack Crucian, and Lois Corbett. Lieutenant Detective Ibarra is played by Jeff Corey. The special music was by Richard O'Runt. Be sure and be with us again next week when Philip Marlowe says...
A startled corpse, a blue-eyed woman, and a cryptic message, scrawled by a dingy man with the pieces of a Chinese puzzle that wouldn't fit together, until I found out what was deadly about the orange dog.
You'll find a whole hour of fun, variety, music, and thrills on Sing It Again tonight and every Saturday, for it's heard over most of these same CBS network stations. Now, stay tuned for Gangbusters, which follows immediately over most of these same stations. This is Roy Rowan speaking for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Stay tuned to HOJO Radio.
A startled corpse, a blue-eyed woman, and a cryptic message scrawled by a dying man with the pieces of a Chinese puzzle that wouldn't fit together, until I found out what was deadly about the orange dog.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime fiction, comes his most famous character as CBS presents The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. And now, with Gerald Moore, starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's exciting story, The Orange Dog.
By 6 in the evening of a very slow day, I'd resigned myself to the business of no business. So I took my feet down from my desk, switched off the lights, and started out the door for home with the prospect of a nice, quiet evening ahead of me. But I didn't make it, even as far as the door. Oh. Hello, Philip Marlowe.
Marlowe, my name is Shelley Martin. I'm at 8412 Los Feliz, a private residence. I want you to come out here right away. My sister is in a jam, a nasty one.
Well, Miss Martin, as a matter of fact, I was just closing up for the night.
Look, I need the services of a private detective right now this minute, and I'm prepared to pay for them. There are plenty of others in town. Are you coming or not?
Yeah, okay, and thanks for the reminder. That's me you hear sprinting up your front walk.
That's much better. And Marlowe, bring your brains along. You're going to need them.
And that was the end of my quiet evening. But I just couldn't resist those government engravings of Mr. Lincoln. So I drove down to Weston, turned off on Los Feliz, and found the number 8412. The yard was an overgrown tangle of perennial plants losing their battle with the weeds. It was like a girl in a strapless evening gown with her hair up in curlers. However, I could see a light through the Venetian blinds, and the doorbell worked with a resonant two-tone chime that caused the door to open just far enough to allow a pair of eyes so blue they were almost purple to peek out at me.
Yes, what is it?
I'm delivering that private detective you ordered.
Oh, Marlowe. Come in.
Thanks.
Sit down, won't you?
Thanks again. All right, what's the next move?
It's about my kid sister.
Mm-hmm.
She's involved with a man named Lou Horner, a San Francisco broker. She's quite deeply involved, I'm afraid.
Oh?
You see, some very strange things are going on, Marlowe, and my sister is a naive kid caught right in the middle of them.
Yeah, I see. What sort of strange things, Miss Martin?
Shelley.
Sweet.
Well, to begin with, when I arrived from San Francisco today, my sister called me and asked me to meet her here in this house. When I got here, the lights were on, the radio was playing, and the front door was open. But the place was deserted.
Whose house is it, Horner's?
No, I think she said it belongs to a friend of his who's in Europe now. This Horner person uses it when he's in Los Angeles.
Well, couldn't they have stepped out for a while?
Mm-mm.
You know, you don't look the type, Shelley, but maybe you're just panicky, huh?
No, I'm not being panicky.
All right, all right. Where's the nasty jam?
Right behind the couch. Take a look.
Okay. But you know, I see what you mean. Who is he, Shelley? How'd he get here?
Maybe it's Horner, I don't know. I tried to search him, but I couldn't.
Mm-hmm. Well, it wouldn't have helped anyway. Whoever shot him cleaned him out. No wallet, no papers, nothing.
I found this magazine lying under his hand. Look here.
Mm-hmm.
He must have written this just before he died.
Where's that?
Here.
Oh. It says, call Marion tonight about the orange dog of Foe. Orange dog of Foe. For what?
That's why I called you, Phil. Marion is my sister. And whatever the orange dog of Foe is, it must be awfully important. We've got to find out what it means, Phil, for Marion's sake.
So far it means murder, honey, and that's for the cops.
No, Well, all right, call them. But keep Marion's name out of it. A thing like this could destroy her.
But look, maybe she pulled the trigger on our friend here.
Maybe, but I don't think so. She's a sweet kid, Phil. Give her a break. If I'm wrong, I swear I'll help you bring her in myself. Is that fair enough?
Okay, Shelley, it's a deal. It makes just as much sense as the orange dog of Foe, but no more. After I'd checked as far as I could on my client and sent her home, which was to the Villa 12 at the Wilshire Gardens Hotel, I ripped the General Squeegee tire ad with a message scribbled across it out of the magazine, folded it up, and stuck it in my pocket. Next, I called Lieutenant Ibarra at Homicide and told him where I'd found a body, probably named Lou Horner, leaving out all the details about Shelley, Marion, and the orange dog. Then I started out the door, but got back as a shadow slid across the walk. I caught a glimpse of a large, ugly head of long, dirty hair set on a small, ugly body that was moving fast. By the time I got out on the walk, Longhair was already putting mileage on a green coupe with a broken tail light. It winked mockingly as it went out of sight. So I got in my car and headed for New Chinatown. It was the logical place to get some information regarding a Chinese dog. I saw a light filtering through a dingy window, illuminating the words James Tang, dealer in Oriental curios. Inside the musty shop, a little man, dressed in a black kimono, drifted forward, softly.
Yes?
I think perhaps you can help me, huh?
I am honored. To be able to help would bring fragrance of plum blossoms to my nostrils, carpet of rose petals to my humble floor, and 1,000 blessings upon my head.
Oh, that's very pretty. Tell me, what is the dog of Foe?
The dog of Foe? Why, this fantastic creature here is called the dog of Foe. His fierce eyes and snarling mouth are to frighten away evil spirits from temples of Buddha.
Why do you say called the dog of Foe?
Amateur collectors and auctioneers have named him that. It sounds exotic to cash customers. Actually, he is a lion. The lion of Korea.
I see. Tang, would you happen to have an orange dog of Foe?
Very strange that you should ask that, my friend.
Strange, why?
Reason number one. There is no authentic orange dog of Fo.
That's a good reason. Why not?
Because to Buddhists, orange is color of sorrow. The piece you speak of could not possibly be authentic.
What's reason number two?
You are second person to inquire after this non-existent orange dog of Fo within last few minutes.
Was it an ugly little man with long hair?
Quite contrary. It was very pretty girl with short hair.
Was her name Marion?
She made point of not leaving her name.
Well, that proves something.
However, my friend, old Chinese proverb, loosely translated, says a little knowledge is the instrument of a fool.
There were 9 other curio shops in the neighborhood, so I started making the rounds for the non-existent orange dog of Fo and a girl who was interested in one. From the first 3 shops, I got a fast horse laugh and the fact that the girl was still ahead of me. The next 2 netted an insult apiece and a total blank on the dame. And from the 6th, called Saxon's, a glossy, well-ordered place on West 7th Street, the only effect was a coldly curious raised eyebrow. The man in front of me, whom I took to be Mr. Saxon himself, was a gaunt white Russian with a high, naked head the color of warm paraffin. His slender fingers played nervously with each other as we talked.
The orange dog of Fo. Yes, I have heard of such a piece, I think. It would be porcelain.
Probably. This is your business. Who has it, Mr. Saxon? Can you tell me?
No, I'm sorry. I believe I heard this orange dog mentioned just once, somewhere down in the village. But I'm sure I could never remember who spoke of it or when.
Oh, no idea of its value then, huh?
Now that you mention it, I seem to remember the figure 20,000.
You mean yen? How much in American money?
I am speaking of American money. It would be an importation from China, you know.
How could it be worth that much? It's not even authentic, Mr. Saxon.
Authentic? You seem to know a good deal more than I about this orange dog. Possibly one would have to see it to appreciate its value.
Yeah. Tell me, has a girl been in here tonight looking for this orange dog?
A girl? I know.
Know anybody named Marion?
Marion. No, there is no one in my acquaintance by that name. But why do you ask?
Because Marion has quite an interest in the orange dog. I have a feeling they'd make a great team if we could get them together.
I see. And what is your name, sir?
It's not Fu Manchu, Mr. Saxon. Good night. Saxon's expression didn't change. I turned and walked out of the place, and then because, with both of us using double talk, the conversation was bound to deteriorate. At least I had found out that the orange dog of Fo existed and was going for a very high figure, especially for a phony. And it didn't take an abacus to figure out that Saxon knew more than he told me. Well, I started up the sidewalk to the next bric-a-brac emporium when I saw something parked on the side street which brought me to a halt. It was that green coupe with the broken tail light. I went over to it, found it empty, and stuck my head inside to check the registration card for Longhair's real name. Yeah, it was a very foolish move because Longhair at that very moment prodded my kidney with the muzzle of a .38. And neither he nor the gun had a sense of humor.
All right, Mr. Wise Guy, come on, walk. You and me are going up the alley here.
What's the matter? Don't you feel at home in the light?
Shut up. I don't like it much anyway, so you better ease off with the smart science. Okay, that was far enough. Well, Mr. Wise Guy, did you find what you're looking for?
You mean the orange dog, Shorty? The answer's no.
The orange dog. So that's where the plates are.
What plates?
You're working for Horner. You don't know what plates.
Look, chum, when you get your next haircut, have your brains dusted off. Nobody works for Horner anymore. Horner's dead.
Dead? Since when?
What's the surprise act for? You saw the body. You were sneaking around that house on Los Feliz. In fact, you might have killed Horner yourself.
That body wasn't Horner. Why, Horner is 3 times the size of that guy in Los Feliz. He's bald. Also, he's so dumb he can't remember his own phone number. Oh, hold it.
I'm looking for Vera Street where they sell those enchiladas. I'm sorry, gentlemen. I don't want to intrude.
Hey, quiet. I'll blow your brains out. All right, now, come on, Mr. Wise Guy. Tell me what Horner's got on his mind. You know all right. I saw you taking orders from his girl.
You mean Shelley Martin?
Who else?
Thought maybe you meant Marion.
Marion? Who's Marion?
Shelley Martin's sister. And don't let it worry you. Marion's got the orange dog eating out of her hand.
I don't say. It ain't funny, mister. It's just peculiar. Because Shelley Martin don't have a sister, I know. So it seems like you're a very mixed-up character. In fact, Mr. Wise Guy, you're so mixed up, you're no good to me at all. So get over there with the rest of that.
I took my time getting up. The dirty, long-haired little man was gone, and my head ached from the rap he'd given me with the pistol barrel. And I was disgusted with myself. Dry, dirty, disgusted like a drunk at sunrise because a nasty little jerk with an oversized head and a blue-eyed dynamo with auburn hair had me jumping through hoops like a trained ape. I stood in the alley and swore at myself until the futility of that routine dawned on me. Then I decided to go hunting. But I made one stop first at a telephone to at least get Ibarra off my conscience.
Lieutenant Ibarra.
Hello, Lieutenant. I just found out that body on Los Feliz isn't Horner.
I knew that an hour ago.
Huh?
The body isn't Horner's, and Horner is no broke. He's a counterfeiter, a big one.
Oh.
The dead man was a Treasury agent named Slade who was closing in on Horner. So if you've got anything you haven't told, Phil, you better get it off your chest.
At this point, it's a pleasure. Girl named Shelley Martin's calling the signals about now, and she can be found at Villa 12, Wilshire Gardens Hotel. Yeah, hurry. You'll just about meet me there, Ibarra.
Now, wait. Suppose you go alone and find out what you can first.
That's a switch.
I'll follow in half an hour. Let's not freeze her up, Marlowe. Let's keep her talking, okay?
Okay, Ibarra. That's easy for her. She's got a forked tongue. Only this time it's going to wag strictly on the straight and narrow, I guarantee it.
In just a moment, we will return to the second act of the adventures of Philip Marlowe. But first, it's no mystery that hunger and cold confront many families abroad this winter. CARE will help feed and clothe these needy people. CARE, the safe, sure, non-profit way to send supplies to Europe and Asia. A check to CARE for $10 will send a 21.5-pound, 41,000-calorie food package, or a baby food package, or a layette, or a baby blanket package, or material for clothing. CARE guarantees delivery. You get a signed receipt that your package has reached its destination. Write your check tonight. Mail it first thing in the morning to CARE, C-A-R-E, 50 Broad Street, New York City. And now, with our star, Gerald Moore, we return to the second act of Philip Marlowe and tonight's story, The Orange Dog.
Pointed my car toward the Wilshire Gardens, and a beautiful liar named Shelley Martin, I was sure of two things. The plates that Long-Hair had wisecracked about just before he piled me into a row of garbage cans were the engraved kind that counterfeiters use to make money the easy way. And second, both Long-Hair and Lou Horner were racing for the plates as well as the Orange Dog, which could be one and the same thing. But 20 minutes later, as I pulled up near Villa 12, which was strips of yellow light and raised voices drifting out of half-open Venetian blinds, I forgot about the gentleman involved and concentrated on a lady who didn't have a sister called Marion. I went around to the back of the villa where I found the service door unlocked and the kitchen beyond dark. And when I entered and quietly moved to a spot near the living room where I could see Shelley snapping at a pompous, excitable man with a red face,
All right,
I figured that a little eavesdropping might pay
where I
off.
belong. I'm here in Los Angeles. Is there anything wrong with that Mr. Horner?
Yes, everything. Why, I wouldn't even have known you were in town if I hadn't gone back to the place in Los Feliz where I saw you and some man having a delightful little chit-chat over the body of that T-man.
Treasury man?
Yes.
Is that who he was?
A meddlesome fool I caught snooping through my papers.
Then you killed him, Lou.
Of course I killed him. I had to. Now stop asking questions and get out of here. Because this is business, not pleasure, Shelley. And that leaves no room for you.
Or Marion?
What do you know about Marion?
Not enough. But what I do know, I don't like. Look, Lou, who is Marion, and what does she mean to you?
Marion means money to me, Shelley. Nothing more. So just leave me alone here so that I can make a call according to schedule.
A call about... Lou.
What's the matter, Shelley?
Behind you, Lou. They're in the garden. Lou!
The bullet crashed through a closed window, didn't stop until it got to Horner, who grabbed at his chest and dropped to the floor even before the glass quit flying. And by the time I got outside to where the shot had come from, I found nothing but a little wind rustling a lot of trees. When I got back to Shelley and the blood over tweed on the carpet, Horner was already dead.
Marlowe, the man out there was Henry Peel.
Peel? Something in long hair and dirty clothes?
Yes, I met him in Horner's office once. Lou said he was a broker from Chicago.
Come on, both Peel and Horner are counterfeiters.
What? Lou, a counterfeit.
That's right. Never mind the carefully arched eyebrows, honey. They mean nothing.
But, Marlowe, I swear I never knew that Horner was anything but a broker.
A broker maltreating poor sister Marion? You're a liar, Shelley.
About Marion, yes. I haven't even got a sister. But from there on out, I'm telling the truth, Phil.
Then tell some more and fast.
All right, here it is. Lou Horner's been my boyfriend.
And, checkbook?
For the past year and a half. But about a month ago, he suddenly stopped being very attentive. And I couldn't figure out why.
So you decided to keep your big blue eyes wide open, huh?
Exactly. And it paid off. Because I found out that, 1, he had taken better than $20,000 out of his bank account. 2, that he was coming down here to Los Angeles.
And 3, that an item named Marion might be beating your time.
Yes. And that part of it upset me plenty. Until 10 minutes ago. But then I found out that Horner here was a murderer, and that, Marlowe, I don't buy.
3 cheers for the all-American girl.
Oh, skip it, Marlowe. I'll live my way, you live yours.
Don't worry, honey. Nobody wants to change places with you. Hey, look. Why does Horner wear a little rubber band on his little finger, do you know?
Oh, he had a bad memory. Used every kind of gadget in the books to keep himself from forgetting things, especially numbers.
Oh.
Well, for example, that rubber band might mean 10 o'clock.
How do you figure?
Like 5 and 5. The fingers on each hand, reading from left to right. He used things like that.
Oh. Wait a minute.
Hmm?
Horner was going to make a call to Marion just now, and the message the T-Man left was...
Call Marion tonight
about the orange dog of foe. Shelley, baby, where's your phone? Fast. Come on, it's 10:15 already.
Well, it's out there in the hall, Marlowe.
Oh.
What are you talking about?
A line, honey, a line on your ex-sister, Marion.
This is Mr. Saxon.
Ah. Lou Horner, Mr. Saxon. I know I'm some 15 minutes late with this call, but I'd still like to see you about the orange dog of foe.
Certainly, Mr. Horner. The orange dog is here, waiting for you.
Good. I'll be right over.
Marlowe, who is Mr. Saxon?
A man very close to a lot of trouble, Shelley. Now, look, you wait right here for the law, and in particular, one Lieutenant Ibarra. Tell him nothing but the truth about Horner and what he meant to you in dollars and cents, and you may be all right.
But where are you going, Marlowe?
To a curio shop on West 7th Street to see, among other things, the orange dog of foe.
You are the Mr. Horner who called?
Yeah. Also the one who was here this afternoon, you remember?
Oh, yes.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't call you at 10, Mr. Saxon, according to schedule. I hope it hasn't inconvenienced you.
No, that's quite all right, Mr. Horner. One moment, sir.
What's the matter? Is anything wrong tonight? Seem on edge, Mr. Saxon.
I am. So please, Mr. Horner, don't make a single stupid move.
What? Wait a minute. Why the gun, Mr. Saxon? I promised not to bite the orange dog.
You won't even touch the orange dog. Now, who are you?
Oh, we've been all through that. I'm Horner, Saxon. Lou Horner of San Francisco.
No, you're not. Horner would have had no reason to wander around curio shops as you did this afternoon, asking any and everybody about the orange dog. Now, once more, who are you, and where is the real Lou Horner?
All right, we'll take them in that order. I'm a private detective named Philip Marlowe, and Lou Horner's a corpse. But also, I'm a good friend of yours, Saxon, because I'm going to give you a little bit of advice for free. Call it quits, Buster. You're licked.
What are you talking about, Marlowe?
A T for Treasury man named Slade. Before he died, Saxon, he talked.
I see.
Yeah, and believe me, he said enough to put you away till orange dogs are as popular as lifesavers. And what do you say, Saxon? Do we play it smart?
Very well, Marlowe. We will play it smart. My kind of smart. Now, turn around and walk through that curtain there. I want to show you something.
Orange dog, maybe?
Yes. The orange dog of foe. I want you to see it for yourself before you die.
Saxon said die like it already happened. And after he relieved me of the comforting bulge of the gun in my pocket and marched me to a large, windowless room that was a little darker than the lining of an 8-ball, he told me to stand very still. Then he turned on a single lamp that rested on a large, scarred table, and next to it an ordinary shipping crate and cushioned on all sides by white wrapping paper. I finally saw the orange dog of foe. It was a porcelain lion, pop-eyed, majestic in a crazy way. And also it was colored orange, bright and clear. But now that I'd seen it, I knew that the next move was Saxon's. I turned to face him. It was then that I noticed the black curtain behind him move slightly, and Longhair quietly stepped into the room. This Mr. Saxon did not know about.
Well, Marlowe, now that you have seen the orange dog for your first and last time, what do you think of it?
He thinks it's just Jim Dandy, mister. Now drop your gun before I blow the top of your head off. Go on, drop it. It's better. Now sit down there and stay put. You, Marlowe, get across the room.
Okay. Thanks for showing up, Peel, before Saxon here ran out of small jokes.
Don't kid yourself, Marlowe. I didn't just show up. I've been right behind you all the way. That's how I work.
So what do you want, Peel?
A couple of very fine engraved plates that I've been after for 6 months now.
Plates which could be in the Orange Dog of Foe?
No place else but. Or did you think that maybe the late Mr. Horner wanted as an ornament?
But that's all it is. There are no plates in the orange dog. It is only a collector's item.
And you're a liar, Saxon. And I know the best way to prove that. Marlowe, pick that thing up and toss it against the wall.
No, don't. I tell you there's nothing in it.
Toss it, Marlowe. Go on.
Okay, Peel.
Now we'll see who's right about the plates being hit.
Nothing, huh, Peel?
No. Nothing. All right, Saxon, get up. I want to know what the plates are, so I'm going to count to 3. That's how long you have to live if you don't tell me.
No. Peel, believe me, there are no plates.
1, 2.
Hold it, Peel. Wait. Here are the plates. Here. In this jeweled box. Look, right here, under your nose.
Is he out, Marlowe?
Yeah, he's out all right. He took the light with him, too. Is there another lamp in here?
No, there isn't. Nor is there another gun.
Why, you stinking little... Wait a minute, those sirens, Saxon, they're heading this way.
Police?
Yeah, the police. Looks like sooner or later everybody gets together in the back room at Saxon's,
But not everybody stays here, so I'll take this wrapping paper and leave now.
Wrapping paper? The stuff that was around the orange dog?
Yes, a sample of the best grade of counterfeiting paper made, Marlowe. And that's what Horner was supposed to buy, not plates, those he got a month ago.
Still makes you a crook, Saxon, and one who'll never get past the front door.
Oh, no, we'll see about that. Marlowe!
Keep shooting, Saxon, in the dark. You got 4 shots left.
You filthy murderer!
Only 1 now, Saxon. That's number 6. You're through, Saxon. By the time Ibarra and his boys, plus a half a dozen very anxious T-men, got into the room, Saxon was already coming apart at the seams. But after a half hour of steady questioning, he split wide open and led us all to a basement hideout where the T-men went wild over a few thousand sheets of A1 counterfeiting paper. But an hour later, after Peel, who admitted murdering Lou Horner, and Saxon, who was ready for the nearest straitjacket, were both in the lockup, there was still the problem of the glib lass from San Francisco. But finally, when Shelley, Lieutenant Ibarra, and I stood under the green light of the globe in front of police headquarters, I knew that the girl who technically was only guilty of withholding information from the police was not going to spend any time in the pokey. Because, after all, I was more or less guilty of the same thing. Besides, Lieutenant Ibarra was still interested in the others.
Well, Marlowe, it looks like the whole business actually boils down to a single transaction between Clay Saxon, who had the counterfeiting paper, and Lou Horner, who was supposed to buy it.
That's right, Ibarra. But Horner, who must have made his contact with Saxon via some middleman in San Francisco, only had a telephone number and the password, the Orange Dog of Foe, to work on here in L.A.
But how'd you get hold of that number, Phil?
From the message the T-man left before he died.
You mean you actually called someone named Marion?
No, honey, I just dialed Marion. M.A. Madison. R-I-O-N. 7466. Madison 7466. You get it?
Yeah. Another one of Horner's screwy memory tricks, like the rubber band on his 10th finger.
Hey, that's pretty good, Phil.
Ah, it's an old gimmick, really. I read it in a dozen detective stories.
What do you know? Maybe I ought to read some of those. Well, good night, Philip. Look for you tomorrow.
Good night, Lieutenant. Well, Shelley, do I show you the way home?
No, Marla. Aren't you hungry or thirsty or something?
Yeah, guess I am at that.
Well, I know just the place for us, darling.
Oh?
It's a cute little place right smack in the middle of Chinatown.
Well, we we got through a small Chinese dinner without seeing or hearing from a single orange dog. And when it came time to leave, I was thinking that Shelley wasn't really too bad a kid at that. So when she left the table to powder her nose, I started to make plans. But when she got back, I forgot about them because in the meantime, she'd run into an old friend. Yeah, a rich old friend who was all alone in the big city. I said I didn't mind taking a rain check when she explained that he was from Kansas City and a broker at that. He certainly was overweight. Too much steak and potatoes. Steak and potatoes. Wonder if Lindy's is still open.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by Raymond Chandler, stars Gerald Moore, and is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Script is by Mel Dinelli, Robert Mitchell, and Gene Levitt. Featured in the cast were Francis Robinson, Edgar Barrier, Tony Barrett, Lou Krugman, and Ed Begley. Lieutenant Detective Ibarra is played by Jeff Corey. The special music was by Richard Orant. Be sure and be with us again next week when Philip Marlowe says...
I was hired to find a blackmailer, and I did. But first I found a badly beaten Adonis, a Jezebel with an accent, and a man who had been an easy mark for murder.
"90 minutes of unsurpassed comedy comes to you every Sunday night when CBS brings you The Spike Jones Show, The Jack Benny Show, and Amos and Andy in succession. Tomorrow night, pianist Alec Templeton and songstress Peggy Mann are Spike Jones' special guests. Jack Benny and his gang, and Amos and Andy, following in succession, will bring you more of the laughs that make them first for Sunday night fun. Spike Jones and Amos and Andy come to you over most of these same CBS network stations, and Jack Benny comes to you over them all. Now, stay tuned for Gangbusters, which follows immediately over most of these stations. This is Roy Rowan speaking for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thanks for listening to HOJO Radio. We'll be back again very soon.